Oh, man, it feels so good. Where are we hearing Kid Rock from? Are you hearing Kid Rock?
Yeah, I
I'm
am.
hearing the Zach Gelb show. I got Zach Gelb.
Let's do this.
One of my headsets.
Oh, that's my bad. My bad. I was so thrown off.
Man, I was
like, what is happening right now?
Let's go.
I heard Kid Rock, and then I pulled the slider down, and nothing happened, and I was like, what? Oh, I hit a cue button.
Shout out to Zach Gelb.
Is that who's on right now?
Did the audience even hear that?
They did not. No, just us.
Oh, okay. So
they're totally confused. They were like, what Kid Rock are you talking about? We heard a little bit of intro for the other show.
We're launching into our show. Cole accidentally pushed the button on the board, and I hear Kid Rock's Ball with the Ball.
Ball with the Ball. Da.
In your late 30s, early 40s, who like rock music, man, that makes you want to do a Kool-Aid Man and run through a wall.
It's a great song, isn't it?
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
It is a great song. By the way, there's a photo of him that surfaced earlier this week. It looks like he was just post-show somewhere. He was shirtless, sitting in the passenger seat of a golf cart. I mean, the dude looked rough. He looked rough. He looked real skinny, and he was rocking a Busch Light tall boy.
You know that's my favorite singer, right?
Kid Rock?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Your all-time favorite?
Seriously.
Really?
Like,
no way. Randy Travis?
Yeah.
What?
Kid Rock's my guy. I promise. When I'm on the lake or whenever I'm needing jams, Kid Rock's my guy. Yeah, I could do an entire 3-hour show about Kid Rock.
I'm with you on Devil Without a Cause. Phenomenal debut record. Phenomenal. Like there's only a few out there, and I know this is the hard-hitting rock and roll conversation that our Tolos, who turn it on and leave it on right here at 3 o'clock each and every day on the Fan Upstate, come for, right?
They like Kid Rock too, I believe.
Yeah, it's like Kid Rock's Devil Without a Cause. It's Metallica's Kill 'Em All. It's Guns N' Roses. Like the best debut records of all time. You can't touch those debut records. Anyway,
what do you think the best Kid Rock song ever is? Best Kid Rock song ever.
Man,
and I can't choose because I'll tell you a few of my favorites. I love Picture. I love Cowboy. No. Listen, I'm getting there. Only God Knows Why. American Bad A is a great one.
You can say Badass.
I didn't know. Last time I said it, I had to hit the dump button. But I said a hole, remember?
Yeah, you can't say that.
I'm just going to.
No, Ball with the Ball is the number one. It is the number one.
It's a good one. Yeah. It's a good one. What about Johnny Cash? Do you like that one? Have you heard it? Oh, it's the best one. It's so good. It's so good. I'll play it. I'll play it during the break. Okay. Born Free?
Good song.
Great song.
Good song. His cover, the song that included the riff to Sweet Home Alabama all summer long. Good song. Good song. I remember DJing that when I was still on B93.7.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Cole, you were still in diapers at the time, probably. Honestly.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
You stopped wearing them like 6 months ago. So
7.
Still wears them occasionally if he knows he's going to have too many drinks.
Who had it in the cards today that Kid Rock would be the first thing we talked about, even though it's not even on the rundown because I hit the wrong button and we heard Kid Rock in our headset.
3 minutes talking about Kid Rock. No, I wanted to leave the show, Cole, with an expert, somebody who actually knows what the hell it is they're talking about, telling me that I'm right and telling you that you're wrong.
You found one person.
No. I found the person.
Oh, okay, the person. Gotcha.
I found Bill Plaschke. You know who Bill Plaschke is, right? He's a columnist for the LA Times. You see him on Around the Horn all the time. He released an article, a column, about the Lakers taking Bronny at number 55. And I got to get your reaction to this column because he basically backs up everything I had to say yesterday about LeBron and about the Lakers and about the decision to take Bronny at 55 being a foregone conclusion. But he also takes it to an area that I don't think spent enough time on yesterday. So I think it's worth covering both sides of this thing. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you an excerpt from his article, his newest column that came out yesterday at 7:55 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, he listened to the show.
Yeah. So we can't be accused, Cole, of stealing his content because we were long off the air.
Yeah, he stole ours or
long
yours.
Off the air. Exactly. So here's Bill Plaschke. Again, you see him on Around the Horn all the time, LA Times columnist. It's historic. It's heartwarming. It's the brightest of headlines for a franchise desperately in need of some good news.
but it's not very smart. And for the two main people involved, it's not very fair. Thus, a wet blanket should be tossed over the LA Lakers' engineering of the most celebrated 55th pick overall in NBA draft history. Yes, they did it, because of course they did it. They drafted an untested 19-year-old kid named Bronny James Thursday to unite him with his father in becoming the NBA's first father-son duo. They did it even though Bronny was ignored by virtually every other NBA team with a chance to draft him. They did it even though Bronny struggled last season at USC in his return from a cardiac arrest episode. They did it even though most experts agreed that his game, 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per appearance for the Trojans, could have used at least another year of college tutoring. They did it seemingly for the reason they do a lot of things: to keep their superstar happy. LeBron had professed a desire to play with his son. LeBron can opt out of his contract this summer. They probably figured LeBron needed to be kept satisfied at all costs. But this is seemingly a high price to pay. I won't get any deeper into that. He basically said everything we need to say. There's a lot more detail in his column. I suggest you go find it on the LA Times website. But this is a guy who's way higher than us on the totem pole in this industry, who lives in that market, who covers that team, who says, of course they did it. It's all about keeping LeBron happy, right? And you have pushed back on that narrative that it was all to keep LeBron happy. So I want to hear your reaction to what Bill Plaschke had to say.
This is my reaction. This is all it was the entire time I heard.
He goes into things like nepotism, and he goes into things like JJ Redick being forced to make this decision. I mean, it's what we all know. But you over there, you're doing your best. You're doing your best impression of those big birds that stick their head in the sand. Ostrich. You're doing your ostrich, okay? You're sticking your head in the sand. You're putting your fingers in your ear. La 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 la. No, LeBron's not doing that. No, LeBron can do no wrong.
I have no desire to conform to what everybody else says.
You know what? I respect it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
Right? I think, how boring would it be if you and I both sat here and said, LeBron's an a-hole, LeBron's a baby, LeBron shouldn't want to play with his son, LeBron shouldn't want success for next segment, right? So what's this guy's name? Bill what?
Plaschke.
Bill Plaschke, respect him. But you know what? Just like everybody can be a little bit of an a-hole at times. I know I said that word one time and had to hit the dump button. Everybody also can be wrong. Right. And Bill's, you do it.
Wrong.
Bill's wrong. I need that sound bite. Do it one more time.
Wrong.
Perfect. Now I have the sound bite. Sweet. So Bill's wrong here. Listen, the smartest man, the smartest people, the highest. Look, we had Steve Hallman. He's at the top of his profession, right? Can't get any higher than what he does. He's wrong at times too. This guy, Bill, he's wrong. I'm not conforming. I'm not going to settle with what you guys are saying. Do I think, let me be very clear, in case somebody didn't hear you and I talk about this yesterday. Do I think Bronny's going to be good in the NBA? No. I don't. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, they got Bronny, they're going to be good, he's going to be great. I'm not saying that. Help me, please understand and please hear me very clearly that I don't think Bronny is going to be a really good NBA player. I don't even know that Bronny's going to be a good NBA player at all. There was nothing here. Here's what's hard. There was nothing that we've seen in college, and a lot of it had to do with his near heart attack, right? Whatever you call it, cardiac arrest. We saw nothing in college, Diesel, that would lead us to believe that he's going to work in the NBA. Now, do some guys not perform at the highest level in college and turn out to be good in the NBA? Sure. But there's nothing that I've seen with my eyes that makes me think, oh, Bronny's going to be really good. Nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, he's going to be really good. I just don't have an issue with a father and a son playing together. I think it's incredibly awesome that we've never
and you
seen
don't
this
like
before.
Hallmark movies. How does this make sense, Cole? This is setting up to be a LeBron James Hallmark movie. And you're saying I love this. I can't wait. I'm gonna cry. Are you gonna cry the first time?
Are you
gonna cry the first time LeBron passes the ball to Bronny because the team's already up 40 and they're playing the Pacers' third team scrubs?
Maybe. Maybe so.
Of course you will.
Now, Adrian Wojnarowski dropped a good Woj bomb this morning. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Diesel, because, much like Bill, last name?
Plaschke.
You don't know why I can't remember that. Bill Plaschke. I know who you're talking about. I've watched him. Yeah. Oh, okay. I can't read either. Much like Bill Plaschke, Adrian Wojnarowski, Diesel, very highly respected. And I thought him and Stephen A. had a good conversation about this morning because there are a lot of people who are just absolutely ripping LeBron like Bill. Here's what Adrian said.
I don't want to hear these charges, people talking about nepotism.
No,
the NBA is full of nepotism.
Full of it.
The ownership level, front offices, coaching. Yep. I don't want to hear it all of a sudden because of Bronny James's father plays for the Lakers. Right. It is rampant in this league.
So that's that. I appreciate Woj for bringing that out. That is something that we as a country have gotten very, very, very bad about doing. The whatabouts. Oh, you can't call out somebody doing something wrong here because everybody else is already doing it too. No, wrong is wrong. You can feel free to call out any bit of wrongdoing you want to. Look, you can't spend your entire life calling out every bit of nepotism in the NBA if you're an NBA reporter, keeping it tight here to this example.
Yeah.
Because that's all your show would be. It would be filled with those examples, and eventually people would tune you out and not care. Look, it's the same people who say, well, I can do 25 over when I'm driving on the interstate because other people are doing 25 over too, and I shouldn't be pulled over for it even though I could possibly kill somebody. No, that's not how that works.
You say wrong is wrong. What defines this, in your opinion, is wrong?
What defines it as wrong is that the Lakers need some actual help. Sure, they made a good pick in the first round, not hating on that. And generally speaking, second round draft picks don't amount to much. That's
sure.
True.
Yeah.
However, just so happens to be, I have a list here of NBA second round draft picks over the past 10 years who have done pretty well for themselves. Okay. Nikola Jokic picked 41st, Montrezl Harrell 32, Malcolm Brogdon 36, Dylan Brooks 45, Jalen Brunson 33, Daniel Gafford, Xavier Tillman, Herb Jones, Andrew Nembhard.
Who?
Yeah.
What a name.
Gigi Jackson was a second round pick.
Gigi.
So look, there's nothing that says being picked in the second round means you're going to be successful. And there's nothing that says being picked in the second round means you can't be successful.
I'll tell you this.
But the LA Lakers, where they are, the fact that they're getting bounced, they're getting punked with the best player in the world currently. The best player in the world getting punked in these playoffs. They don't need to be making DA moves like this, these feel-good moves, because that's what pushes them farther back.
So I'll continue to play devil's advocate by saying this. If this draft, which in my opinion was a terrible draft, if this draft, Diesel, was slam loaded with talent, I'd agree with you. I'd say, look, there's way too much talent to be picking Bronny James. I really would. If there was a guy out there who I thought was just light years better than Bronny James or this guy or that guy. And I know DJ Burns, a lot of people say should have been the pick, but DJ Burns, I don't know that DJ Burns would have immediately helped
also
the Lakers
fit
either.
In that system, yeah.
You got to fit. So if the draft was loaded, I'm with you. I agree with you. However, in my opinion, I've heard it from others as well in News Talk Media, this draft absolutely sucked. And I don't mean, look, the players got drafted. They're talented, right? But there just wasn't as much talent as we're used to seeing in the draft. And for that reason, I'd say, hey, if you're going to do it 1 year, go ahead and do it.
Well, what Bill Plaschke does do, and I think we can both agree on this, is that this puts Bronny in a position where he is going to struggle to be successful. Obviously, being in LeBron's shadow, no matter who you are, even if you're not Bronny James, playing under LeBron James, being in that shadow, you're not going to be paid attention to. And you're also going to be judged differently from everybody else. Bronny's going to have a tremendous amount of pressure on him being on the same team with his dad, being down the bench from his dad. And he's also going to be put into a position, Cole, where it's going to be a tug of war between LeBron and Coach JJ Redick. Now, I know you don't subscribe to the theory that LeBron James exerts that kind of force over the coach, but haven't we seen over the years, Cole, or haven't we heard dozens of stories about overbearing parents forcing their kids out onto the field, screaming at coaches because they're not putting their son in enough? That's going to happen. That's going to happen at some point. LeBron James is going to say, I want my kid to play more.
So you started this conversation by saying, I think we will both agree. And I will tell you this. I do agree with you saying it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Bronny. I will say this, though. My prediction, Cole's prediction here, Diesel. You're right. It puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Bronny James. However, I think this will be LeBron's last year in the league.
Really?
I do. I don't think LeBron.
Well, guess what? It's going to be Bronny's last year in the league, too, because once LeBron is gone, the LA Lakers will have no use for Bronny James whatsoever. He will be chewed up and spit out.
Well, they may not, but I think the reason LeBron will retire is I think LeBron will do what you said. I think LeBron will want Bronny James to have a fair shake at it, right? Because remember this. LeBron said his dream was to play with his son Bronny, right? That was his dream. I also heard audio this morning of LeBron talking about only wanting to play with Bronny for a year. This was 6 years ago, this audio was. So maybe his mind's changed, but I would very much not be surprised, Diesel, if he played with him for a year, checked it off, said, I played with Bronny, but to your point, I don't want that amount of pressure on him for a long time. I don't have anything else to give to this game. I'm out. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I wonder how, if in any way, shape, or form, this could end up being detrimental to the Lakers in that their star player is going to request/demand, at whatever varying degree you want to say that's going to happen, that his son be on the field, that on the court, that a subpar player is on the court over somebody who is better than him.
I don't think that'll happen.
Over somebody who gives them a chance to win. Like you don't think LeBron's going to stat watch his kid and say, "Oh, I don't like the fact that he's only got 5 points a game."
I don't. I really don't. I could be wrong.
Or do you think he's going to be more of a garbage time kind of player?
Yes.
I mean, the LA Lakers aren't good enough to be having a lot of games where they're going to be up 40 points and they can put in garbage time players.
Well, that don't happen in the NBA, right? Garbage time in the NBA rarely happens. I don't think they'll be good enough for him to have garbage time, to your point, but I also think LeBron's a winner, right? His DNA, he's a winner. He wants to win. He truly gives everything every game. If he's on the court, he's given his 110%, right? I don't think LeBron, the winner, would want and ask for Bronny to be in the game over somebody who's better, like a Rui or somebody. I really don't. Now, their guard position, they need help at guard. Will Bronny see the floor? Yeah, but I don't think it'll be much at all, D's. I really don't. Now, before we hit a break, let's get to I do want to get to some of these comments. CJ from Greer on the text line started off the show with a bang and said, Kid Rock, dark and gray, all-time favorite. Dark and gray is a good one.
That was Kid Rock was my wife and it was within our first 3 dates.
Concert,
yeah. We drove up to Charlotte, saw them at the arena that the Hornets play in. I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head, the Spectrum Center.
Yeah.
We saw Kid Rock there. Man, that was a sight. I'm telling you, man. We saw a drunk lady slip and fall down about 30 steps because somebody had spilled a beer on those very vertical upper deck steps. So, we saw rednecks in rocking chairs on AstroTurf on like the third level of this arena, just sitting back, hammered drunk, looking like Bobby Cox over there, just
Bobby Cox. God, you had to throw Bobby Cox in on a Friday.
What? He used to rock in the seat, right?
He did. All right, I'll say this real quick before we get back to the basketball. The Kid Rock concert that I went to in downtown Dallas, and I hadn't been to as many concerts as you. I hadn't been to a lot of concerts, Diesel, but that Kid Rock concert, it is far and above any other concert I've ever been to, ever. I've never been to a concert that's even remotely close to Kid Rock.
Tell me, Cole, what does ball with the ball mean to you?
It means I'm in a really good mood. It means I'm in a
Do
really
you
good
ever
mood.
ball with the ball, bang the bang, diggy? Diggy said the boogie, set up, drop
See,
the boogie.
I can't even read it like that. I can't even say it like that. All right, real quick, before we hit a break, Madcraft chimes in and says, I feel like I heard somewhere that they had Bronny graded as a second rounder anyways. It was always going to happen, but maybe it's not the stretch we all think. JD on the stream says this decision by the Lakers wasn't to put the best winning team around LeBron. It was literally to make them the first father-son duo. Well, no bleep, JD. I mean, wow. Where'd you get that big bomb drop?
I can't wait for Disney to make a movie out of this.
JD coming in strong. Their goal was not to win. Their goal was to make them the first father-son duo ever. Well, no crap, JD. I mean, God. Hey, the sky's blue. Look, Diesel, the sky's blue. JD, man. I mean, no crap. That's the whole purpose of it, right? That's why it's historic. He also says Bronny may very well never see the floor, and if he does, it'll be just to collect another accolade. But it's a good conversation. Good conversation. We'll get back to it, I'm sure, Diesel, during this show. Those messages that I just read on the stream, you can hop in and be a part of the stream with our other Tolos. That stands for Turn It On, Leave It On. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can also text the show anytime, 71307, starting your text with the word fan. Diesel, we've had this plated for several days.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fascinating topic coming up next. I want to get to this. I want to get your opinion as well as our opinion of the Tolos. Should golf have an all-star weekend? You and I have drawn up some ideas for it. We'll talk about it next. Somehow the very first segment got derailed, Diesel, to Kid Rock conversation. We got more Kid Rock text than we did about the NBA and the draft. So let's do the same thing here. You and I, it doesn't take much for you and I to become amused.
No.
A nice motorhome that looks like it's off of the movie RV just rolled up in the parking lot and almost got stuck. Did you get a video of it?
No, I didn't get a video. This is you say nice. It's not nice, man. This thing's a piece of crap. Huge RV. And I'm going to hold up my phone for those trying to watch on the stream. So this is out the window of our studio. This huge RV pulls into the Odyssey parking lot, which we share with the dentist office and Chicken Salad Chick next door, and tries to pull into the drive-through of Chicken Salad Chick. Now they try to round this corner and they realize, oh crap, there's one of those low clearance signs.
I love when that stuff happens, man. I love it. I love watching
around the corner. And then we're like, how the hell are you going to get out of this one, bro?
God, I love it.
Yeesh. That's funny, man. Like, so we're on the backside of Lowe's Hardware here off of Woodruff Road in Greenville.
Sure.
And right next to like the next turn off of Garlington Road is the back way that truckers are supposed to take their loads to Lowe's Hardware and unload at the back. And every now and again, you'll see an 18-wheeler make the wrong turn and pull into this parking lot. Some days they're okay because it's a relatively empty parking lot. Some days it's absolutely slammed, and you got to see them do about 100-point turn to get out of this one.
I love it.
We find ourselves in a little bit of a pickle, Dick.
I like watching boats in the summertime. People back in boats at lakes, Diesel, who have no idea what they're doing. And it's like, jackknife in the trailer. Yeah. I love
this. Is like Austin Powers when he tried to turn his golf cart around in a skinny hallway.
For sure.
Well, he was just like, skirt, skirt, skirt.
All right. I ask you the question. I tease it on the other side. In your opinion, and I don't know where this came from. I saw this somewhere on social media, and I wanted to bring it to the show. But, just about every sport that I can think of, NASCAR, baseball, football, basketball, Diesel, they all have all-star weekends. How cool would it be, especially for somebody like me who's trying to get into golf more and more, right? How cool would it be, or would it even work, to have a all-star weekend every year in golf? Obviously, you could bring some creative competition to it, right? Maybe even do Live versus PGA if you want to go that way.
I'm so ready for this.
But why is this? Do you think this has never been discussed, or is this like is just something that? I mean, it really does blow my mind. You would think that golf, as being as big as it is, would have contemplated maybe having an all-star weekend.
I'm totally down for a golf all-star weekend. Look, it can be kind of the way the NFL does things, where they've got sort of a 50-50 event, right?
Yep.
Like 50% of it are the goofy skills challenges. 50% of it is an actual tournament, however you want to play this thing. Look, I mean, Live and PGA golfers, they already face off against each other 4 times a year in the majors. But I would love to see them placed into scenarios that they're uncomfortable with. Like, you asked this question on the rundown, and my mind just went, I've got 100 ideas.
I know.
Right?
I'm the same way.
I mean, this is
I want to see it.
So many great opportunities to have fun with this and raise money for charity or a whole bunch of money for whoever. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I think this is something golf should absolutely do. I want to start sharing some of our ideas. I want the Tolos to start sharing their ideas of what you would like to see in a golf all-star competition. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Respond to us, reply to us on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube on the video stream.
I think it's fascinating because there are a lot of things that you could do. And, I don't know, like the Live versus the PGA was my first initial thought. Mm-hmm. I don't know that would ever happen, but I think that there could be some sort of thing, Diesel, where maybe we try to bring these two together, raise a bunch of money, and give it away to a really good cause, right? something where both are competing against each other. And I know there is bad blood between the two, so maybe it wouldn't work. I'm just throwing out ideas here, but maybe you could raise a whole bunch of money and give it to a charity, and donate and really make an impact here. So I want to hear from your ideas as well. And like you said, like already on the stream, Shane Barrett says All-Star Weekend golf could be done like a mini Ryder Cup with U.S. versus international. I didn't think about that. That's a good point,
So
Shane.
I would like to see a couple of different things happen. And there's nothing to say all of these things couldn't happen in one epic golf week or weekend, right? So, Cole, have you ever been to a Topgolf? So you have been to a Topgolf. So you're
not good, but I love it.
If anybody's not aware of what a Topgolf format is like, you're looking down a fairway with various targets and flags set up at various distances. And around that flag is a big circle with nets underneath. And it's basically, imagine like a dartboard and the way a dartboard is laid out.
Yeah.
But with different chambers. And you have to, there's one version of the Topgolf game where you have to try to get one shot in each one of those chambers around each distance hole. So let's do that, right? Let's put up an array of targets at varying distances and then make these golfers land one in each of those target areas. Make it smaller, right? Make it more difficult than it is at Topgolf because those things are huge. You just got to get it relatively close and you can score. But let's do that, right? Let's do that. How about a tic-tac-toe, but with a 100-yard lob wedge?
I'd like to see that. That'd be fascinating. For me.
And everybody loves long drive
Tic-tac-toe.
competitions, right? You could certainly put things like that in there. I loved watching. I don't think the show is on anymore. I think it lasted like 3 or 4 seasons, but holy moly, remember the Steph Curry obstacle course golf, which is basically like gigantic mini golf, but not gigantic mini golf. It was mini golf, but with real putters, but just overblown obstacles, right? I want to see something like that where it's got to get a little bit silly, right? That would be really interesting to me. I want to hear these golfers mic'd up and talking trash to each other. Like, have you ever seen those videos? They call it like the back off challenge, I think, where somebody will be coming up to play golf and it's usually at some tournament somewhere. And you've got an array of comedians, like harsh, in your face, mean kind of comedians who will start trash talking a golfer while they're setting up to hit their drive. And it's all hilarious. And it's all to see who can actually hit a good shot down the middle of the fairway right after they've just had their feathers ruffled like that. I would love to see that.
I don't know that the talking trash, like if you had it live versus PGA or even Shane's point, U.S. versus international, that'd be really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be really curious to see how it worked. But here's the question I have. If we do this, if we were to have an all-star weekend for golf, where would it be? Where would it take place? It'd have to take place at somewhere pretty historic, right? I'm not saying Augusta because Augusta is Augusta. I'm not saying
they've already played the Masters there.
You play the Masters there, but don't you think if you did it, like, no disrespect to other courses, but you would think it'd have to be done at a pretty high level course to where you felt like you could do it there every year, or maybe you don't. Maybe you switch it up.
There's got to be, formerly famous, highly used, especially on the PGA Tour golf courses that have been shuffled out of use by the PGA, right? I mean, think about the Major League Baseball Field of Dreams game, right? Something like that. If you could recreate and bring back a course that they used to play on back to
T-Swizzle. To my question about where they should play it, T-Swizzle says Village Greens.
Oh man,
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, that'd be a real classy play.
Here's something no, but I've read the reviews.
It's a good Southern course,
and it's not good. It's not good.
Oh, geez, that was funny, T-Swizzle.
No, here's something I would like to see, Cole.
All right.
So, you ever play like the NASCAR video games?
I used to.
So you remember how like you could do like time trials against yourself?
Yeah.
Where you'd be driving and then right next to you would be like a ghost car. It would be your previous best lap.
Yep.
And you were trying to race against your previous best or against a former great racer NASCAR driver who had an epic lap, right? Why not do that? Why not play against Ghost Tiger or Ghost Arnold or Ghost Payne Stewart or Fred Couple or any of these guys, these Ben Hogan, these legendary golfers. And you got to play with the same equipment they had.
Sure.
You got to play, especially if you made them like go full in with the era, like the old equipment, the old clothes. I think it would be absolutely fascinating. As a matter of fact, I watched a YouTube video this morning it's like a golf YouTube channel where everybody on that channel is at varying levels of skill. And so the best player on there had to play with the oldest equipment they could possibly buy on eBay. So this guy's hitting, Cole, a golf ball from the 1890s with old hickory shafted clubs.
That's rough.
And then the next best golfer has to play with clubs from the 1920s.
That's rough too.
And equipment from the 20s. And then one from the 50s and then one from the 70s and then one from the 90s.
I did see the video of Bryson playing with the Walmart clubs.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I love those. I mean, it really does make you understand for somebody that doesn't follow golf closely like I do. It really does think, man, like there's a big difference, right? Texter from the 978 says, I think I would rather watch Trump versus Biden in a golf match than another debate, especially if they have to walk all 18 holes. Texter, funny, very funny. Oh, those two arguing about their golf swings yesterday.
Hilarious.
I wouldn't watch the whole debate because I didn't want to get dumber from
2
watching
hours.
the debate.
You'll never
2
get
hours
back, right?
of those two jagoffs yelling at each other. I mean, come on, I couldn't watch it. But
JD says All-Star Weekend for golf is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and then goes on to say their Diesel now the Top Golf idea saves Cole's dumb idea. I like that one. I like the Top Golf reference. I really do. I have nothing wrong with that.
Hey, Top Golf could be a sponsor. Have Top Golf sponsor it and recreate. I mean, you're telling me that would not be ridiculously good advertising for Top Golf as a brand?
Wouldn't though, like if it happened. No, I agree with you. It would be really good advertising, but if it happened, wouldn't John Daly have to be kind of like I don't want to say the MC of the whole thing, but kind of like, you're the guy. I mean, because if you did a Masters All-Star Weekend, it wouldn't be Jim Nantz out there, right?
No, you'd have to have somebody who's really fun.
It'd be John Daly.
I mean, I was watching videos of him yesterday, one-handed, barefoot, with a beer in one hand and his golf club in his left hand, doing one-handed chips from 40 yards out, sinking shots, and everybody loses their mind. You telling me that guy rolling up on a golf cart, shirtless, yelling at these guys wouldn't be so entertaining? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Masters and the big tournaments, yeah, Jim Nantz needs that. But I'm saying for this, can you imagine if they gave a microphone? Now, they might have to put it on Netflix. Let's be real, because
please do.
Standard television might not be able to handle John Daly with a microphone.
Madcraft says 6 handicap. Then I'm Scotty Scheffler. That was Joe Biden saying that he was a 6 handicap at one time.
Okay, so again, I'm not a golfer. Explain handicap.
A handicap is essentially a rating of your average over par in a given course. So like, it's a way for you, if you're not a good golfer and you're going up against somebody who's a much better golfer than you, to compete on a quote unquote level playing field. Okay. So let's just say that that you are a plus 20 handicap, which means your average is 20 over par.
Average golf.
Average, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And from playing 10, 20 rounds, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm a scratch golfer, which means I average par golf.
Okay.
Then we go play around against each other, and you shoot only 18 over, but I still shoot my level par.
Yeah.
You've just won by 2 strokes because you have beaten your handicap and I have not.
I really do want to get into it, man, but I'm just telling you, I don't know that I can make the time commitment.
Did I explain handicaps pretty well for you guys?
No, I think you did. I'm
pretty sure that's how it works, right? Like you play a round of golf and your handicap is based on what courses you play and how you play on those courses on those given days. It's all very intricate how they calculate this thing, right?
Sure.
They rate the course as to how difficult it is and how you perform on that course relative to its difficulty, relative to your normal average performance.
No, that makes sense. I thought you did a good job there. Not a golf guy, so I need the golf tips. I need the explanation.
I love the idea of putting guys in like old timey clothes and making them go out and play with older equipment, right? Like some of these guys,
or at least like a couple holes.
Yeah, some of these guys. I mean, essentially, you're just recreating a lot of YouTube challenges that a lot of these YouTubers have been doing for a long time, but on an international level of golfer scale, right? You're having the best in the world compete at some of these goofy challenges that are fun to watch.
I'd like to see it, man. For somebody who is not a big golf guy like I am, or like I am not, I'd love to see a golf all-star weekend.
It is fascinating. You said you've seen some of Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Like these elite level golfers, a lot of times they've never ever swung clubs that are this poor of quality level or old golf clubs. Like imagine somebody like Charlie Woods coming up and being asked to swing an old wooden wood, right?
Yeah,
he's probably never hit that kind of golf club before, but they're good enough that they can figure it out pretty quickly.
Sure.
And they'll still kick your ass.
JD asked on the text line, isn't there a lady golfer who smokes now? We need to get behind that woman golfer. I don't know. I don't follow it enough. A woman golfer that's
on the course?
Are you allowed to do that? Is that even, does PGA ban that like they ban everything else?
Seems like something they would do, right? You got to protect that image.
It's a good question. Can you smoke in a PGA Tour event?
What would you like to see in the Golf All-Star event? Hit us up, you Tolos. Those of you who have turned it on and left it on for the first 42 minutes of the show today. Text us 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. When we get back, Cole, let's get into what we call our daily wires. It's a quick whip around of what's going on in the sports world right here on the Fan Upstate. Show. God,
You did it. Or even now for the week.
We need to have a dollar jar for every time we start talking without our mics turned on.
Or even we've both done it twice this week.
Show number 68 of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate. Every day, a lot of sports news happens. Some of it, Cole, could slip through the cracks, but we don't let that happen, right? Even the little stories get talked about here on the Fan Upstate and Wire to Wire in a segment we call our Daily Wires.
Buzz.
This is the buzz happening around the sports world today. The Dallas Mavericks have traded shooting guard Tim Hardaway Jr. and 3 second-round picks to the Detroit Pistons for shooting guard Quentin Grimes. Big trade going on there. 3 second-round picks. I would assume those are 3 like consecutive over the years. Second-round picks, because I don't know if it works the way that it does in the NFL draft, like where you can really bank a whole bunch of picks in 1 year.
No, that's
not really sure it works that way.
I'm sure it's spread out over a few years.
What are these two teams trading? Well, Grimes, Quentin Grimes, who is now headed to Dallas, is a 7-point per game, 2-rebound guy. Tim Hardaway is owed $16 million in 2024. Grimes is due just $4 million in the final year of his rookie deal. So this is a move to save some money. For the Dallas Mavericks. They get a very expensive player off the books, and they get Quentin Grimes. So what do you know about Quentin Grimes? He's only in his 4th year in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's not like a barn burner type of player, a 7-point per game, 2-rebound per game kind of guy. I'm not sure, Tim Hardaway didn't really blow anybody away in the playoffs.
No, it's not a Tim Hardaway's a role player that, in my opinion, underperformed a little bit. Quentin Grimes at Houston was really good in college, just hasn't really panned out to be much of anything other than a role player at times, and his stats, 2021 first year in the league, still has a little bit to prove.
Here's a big one. EA has released its top 10 overall power rankings. We had some fun earlier this week with the offensive rankings. They released the defensive rankings as well, but now they have combined the two, and they have the overall power rankings. Here's how it shakes out. Number 10, Utah. Number 9, LSU. Number 8, Penn State. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 6, Clemson. 5, Texas. 4, Alabama. 3, Oregon. 2, Ohio State. And number 1, Colorado. Kidding. It's Georgia.
That's terrible.
Number 1. Now, who rounds out the top 25? Okay, here we go. Starting with number 11, Michigan, Florida State, Miami, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Colorado, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, USC, Virginia Tech, NC State, Kansas, Arizona, Oklahoma State, and Iowa. Notable on this list, Cole, that there is no Missouri and no Tennessee in the top 25. What? What? Now, like, these rankings are subject to change. Everybody's freaking out all over the college football world. Who do they think they are? These guys don't know ball. I mean, if they had Rob Brown, knower of ball, on their team, then certainly these rankings would be a lot more accurate than they are. But to not include Missouri, that's a preseason top 10, to not include Tennessee, who's got an insane offense under Josh Heupel, I mean, it's idiotic. But these are just the initial rankings, right? This changes over time. Actually, this can change week by week as real life football happens. It affects the game. It affects the way these teams are power ranked.
I like that.
Week by week.
Yeah, I like that. I'm glad it does. I mean,
yeah.
If you want it to be realistic in any form, you want it to be in some sort of
So these idiots who are ranking Colorado so high,
yeah,
they're gonna have egg on their face. They're gonna look really, really stupid. Those who didn't put Missouri in there are gonna look really, really stupid. Let's see. Next up, Clemson baseball's Nolan Naraki, I think I said that right, has entered the transfer portal. He started 34 games for the Clemson Tigers this year. That's a big loss.
Yeah, it's a good loss. After they just picked up 2 in the portal, it doesn't surprise me that they have one guy that says, look, maybe I can get more playing time somewhere else. But he was a good player. Definitely going to be a loss for Clemson baseball, no doubt.
I'm going to look up and see No, Nolan, no, Rocky. Well, we'll get to it coming up on the other side of the break. The Braves host the Pirates today, 7:20 first pitch. Charlie Morton gets the start. And Alabama, after they have signed 5-star cornerback Dijon Lee, has moved up to number 2 in the country in On3's recruiting rankings.
Alabama.
Looks like Kalen DeBoer can recruit Alabama.
All right, coming up next, which NFL quarterback, Diesel, or quarterbacks, you can put an S on that and make it plural. Which NFL quarterbacks have the most pressure on them in 2024? We'll discuss next. We're going to tell you why Patrick Mahomes has more pressure on him than anybody else in the NFL, right, Diesel? Is that the answer to my tease? No, that name, that quarterback will not even be brought up during this conversation.
If he doesn't throw the ball to Travis Kelce enough, Travis's girlfriend is going to call her millions of sycophantic weirdo teenagers.
That's true, yeah. That is a level of pressure.
Yeah,
that is considered pressure. You're right. So I want to start this conversation. And again, the question is, as I teased last segment, what quarterback in the NFL, in your opinion, has more pressure on him than anyone else? I want to go through a list of these quarterbacks, Diesel, but I want to start with something that I think is so fascinating, okay? We all know that Lamar Jackson is in the elite category of quarterbacks in the NFL, right? Everybody knows that there are not many quarterbacks better than Lamar. However, while you can be in the elite category, Diesel, is it okay? Is it fair? And I ask you, the Tolos, the same question. Is it okay? Is it fair to say that while Lamar Jackson is at the top tier of quarterbacks in the NFL, at the same time, he also does have pressure on him? Maybe it's not the most. I would probably say it's not even near the most pressure, but in a sense of a little bit, a level of pressure, I think he does, man.
Well, I don't think Lamar Jackson has nearly enough pressure on him. I think he is granted this status of an elite quarterback who's never really done a whole lot with it, right? In the regular season, he is phenomenal. You can't argue that. He is great. But when it really matters, he's not getting it done, right? I mean, look, we can't – I hate the people who only look at rings and trophies as proof that you're a good player. That's not the only thing, right? It's not the only thing.
No, I know. You're right. I know.
How you perform, it is certainly a big component of it, but it is not the only thing by which these players should be judged. They should be judged based on what they did in the regular season, their averages, their wins against plus 500 teams, their come from behind victories, right? They're inside the 2-minute warning play, game-winning drives. There's a lot of different things that these players should be judged on. Playoff wins is one of them. Trips to the championship games is one of them. Trips to the Super Bowl and Super Bowl rings are all part of the equation, but it's not the end-all be-all. And for whatever it's worth, and for whatever reason, Lamar Jackson can't get over that hump. And I think there should be more pressure on him to actually go out and win big games, instead of people always excusing the lack of success and saying, well, it's because of the other things, right?
Well, listen, I'm a Lamar fan. I really do love Lamar Jackson. I just do think that a lot of times people look at these quarterbacks and look at these lists and think, oh, well, what quarterbacks have pressure? There certainly can't be any pressure on one of the highest paid quarterbacks, right? Because a guy like Derek Carr has a lot more pressure than Lamar Jackson. And I would agree with that. I'll just tell you this. Just like in college with fan bases, Diesel, in college football, there are different levels of pressure. And I think people need to understand that, because when you say pressure, you don't want to just generalize it, because there are certainly different levels. Lamar's pressure, Diesel, Lamar's level of pressure that he has is a different level of pressure than what Derek Carr has, right? Different world. But it's still pressure to win. It's still pressure to get it done, because he can't get over that hump, to your point.
Yeah, Lamar's pressure is to go win playoff games. Derek Carr's pressure is to not explode into a pile of dust when he gets hit, because he's old.
And I don't like him. You know that.
Yeah, and he's got so much pressure coming from Greenville, South Carolina. I know
he's feeling
Derek
it,
Carr
man.
Feels it.
He's feeling it. All right. I'm going to get – I see Madcraft on the stream, and I'm going to get to your Chargers in a minute, Madcraft. Madcraft says Lamar is a gifted, phenomenal defense every year and the league's best rushing attack, and he's losing. I don't want to say losing. Losing, I wouldn't agree with that, Madcraft. I mean, he's a winner, right? He wins games. He hasn't done it in the biggest of games. But my point is, Madcraft, I just want you to hear me out, that there is a different level of pressure for him.
He's 62-24 in his career, right? So he's not losing. He's winning a lot more than he loses.
Sure.
But he's not winning the ones that really matter.
So while you and I both agree that the pressure that he has on him is not remotely close to a guy like Derek Carr, we do agree that there is an amount of pressure on him because he hasn't done it. And maybe a guy like Derrick Henry being in the backfield with him now this year may be the icing, right? The icing on the cake. That might be what Baltimore needs to get over the hump. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But I just want to point out that when we get to this list of quarterbacks that have pressure, I wanted to start with the good ones because I want people to understand that really good quarterbacks, Diesel, really high-paid quarterbacks can still have pressure on them. Josh Allen, Buffalo, are you telling me, and I want to hear from the Tolos as well, because I know we have Bills fans in the audience. We've heard from Bills fans before. I know there are a lot of Bills fans here in the upstate. The Bills have a great fan base. But can you sit here and tell me and look me in the eye and say that there's no pressure on Josh Allen? There's zero pressure on Josh Allen to get Buffalo to where they need to be because let's call it like it is. Him and Sean McDermott have not done what they were supposed to do. Allen led the NFL in big-time throws last season with 41. Despite pushing the ball downfield as much as he did, he still kept his turnover-worthy play rate at 2.9, a career best. So he was better last year at not turning the ball over. He also added the second most first down rushes with 66. He's a threat, right? He's a unicorn when it comes to athletic gifts. But he also, in my opinion, Diesel, to your point earlier, he has not done it in the biggest of games. Yes, he's gone. I know what people will say. He's gone against Patrick Mahomes, right? He's gone against the best of the best. He has in the AFC. He has to go against Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And I get all of that. I really do. But I still think there's a tremendous amount of pressure on Josh Allen. Justin Herbert, LA Chargers. Do you, Diesel, do you, Tolos, give Justin Herbert an out? Do you give him an excuse? Do you give him I don't want to say a free pass, but do you give him a pass because he's never had a really solid coaching staff? Kellen Moore just came in last year, and they've really had no consistency. Do you give a guy like Justin Herbert a pass? Madcraft says, make sure you get your facts straight before you slander Herbie. I like him.
Look, I mean, he's won 53% of his games. As you said, there's been a revolving door of coaching staffs. They've moved the team on him. He's never really had the most elite weapons around him, but he's still a very good quarterback. Not elite, very good. Madcraft, as much as this may hurt you to know, he's only won 53% of his games as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I'm just saying, like, he's okay. He's a good quarterback. And when you put it in the context of everything that he's had to deal with over the course of his career, that should be looked at as very good.
He is, listen, let's not get it twisted here. He is a phenomenal quarterback. There are many people, many teams, many owners that would love to have Justin Herbert be the star of their franchise. As a Cowboys fan, I will not lie. I will not sit here and look you in the face and tell you a fib. I would love to have Justin Herbert as the quarterback of my Dallas Cowboys. I would. I love Justin Herbert. He's a really good quarterback. But, again, he's a really good quarterback. Doesn't mean he doesn't have pressure. I do give him a little bit of a pass. I don't think he has as much pressure on him as a guy like Josh Allen does, but I do give him a little bit of a pass because, to your point, what you said about the revolving door of coaches that he's had. So I hope he turns it around. I hope he gets LA. I'm not a Chargers fan by any means, but with Harbaugh there now, Diesel, maybe he can get something consistency going. Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, his first year under Urban Meyer, we gave a pass to, and now he got a good coach in Doug Peterson. Maybe with Harbaugh in LA now, maybe they can get this thing right.
So I was wrong about that, by the way. I was looking at the wrong stat. Justin Herbert's win percentage, it's not 52%, it's 48%.
Okay,
he's
a little lower.
Sub 500 quarterback.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Again, considering everything that he's dealt with over the course of his career, he's viewed as one of those good quarterbacks. Not a great quarterback, not an elite quarterback, just good.
I do agree with you, Matt, on the stream. Don't get it twisted. You can't win games giving up 40. I agree. Their defense, your defense, the Chargers' defense has been atrocious.
So then where's Justin Herbert demanding a trade? Get me out of here. I'm a better quarterback than the situation that I'm placed in.
If Harbaugh didn't come in, I would agree with you. But I think Harbaugh might be able to get that shit right. I really do. I mean, does anybody doubt Jim Harbaugh? Does anybody doubt him?
No.
I mean, I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt, right? And I think he will get them back to winning ways. Next question, next quarterback that I ask. Diesel, this one obviously will pain me to say a little bit, but how much pressure, in your opinion, we've talked about the ownership, we've talked about the coaches, how much pressure is on Dak Prescott? Final contract season, as you pointed out just a few days ago.
For the next 12 months, none, but starting with month number 13, a lot. I mean, when Jerry Jones finally kicks the bucket. Number one, Cole, you better be dancing in the streets. Number two, Dak Prescott's out on his ass. He's gone, right?
Might be before that.
You think?
You never know. Look, he's a really good quarterback. He has a really good passing grade. QBR has always been solid. He's had one season of his career where he really struggled with turnovers. Last season, the loss to Green Bay was a disaster. But other than that, the 2023 campaign last year for Dak Prescott was special. It was elite. He had a 73.5 passing grade, 89.8 passing grade in the regular season, only second to Tua Tagovailoa. So there is pressure on Dak, but again, it's the Cowboys. There will be blame put on Jerry. There will be blame put on Mike McCarthy, right? Mike McCarthy might Diesel be the scapegoat if 2024, I mean, really, if 2024 doesn't go the way it's planned, McCarthy will be the guy blamed, not Dak. And that's just the way it is.
It is. It's sad. Like Mike McCarthy, he's how old is Mike McCarthy? He is 60 years old. So he has the potential maybe to make one more run at being a head coach in the NFL after he is mercifully let go from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know that he's in his final year of his contract. We know that things aren't exactly sunshine and rainbows for Mike McCarthy in Dallas. So Mike still has another chance to maybe go be a head coach somewhere else in the NFL. And I hate retread head coaches, but man, this would not be a retread. The right situation, Mike McCarthy could do very well for himself. Go out, one more ride, 5, 6, 8 years, call it a career at 66, 67 years old. I think Mike would do very well for himself somewhere else. It's just, we've seen the revolving door of head coaches in Dallas. It's tough. It's a really tough place to win because of everything you have to deal with.
Diesel, there would be a lot of teams that would hire Mike McCarthy as
in a heartbeat.
A lot of teams. I mean that. So I agree with that point.
I'd fire Dave Canales to hire Mike McCarthy.
If it doesn't work out, right? If it doesn't work out. I mean, there's not as much pressure. Still a crazy owner. All right, let me ask this question. We're talking about quarterbacks that have the most pressure on them. We're going to get to the bad ones. Listen, Diesel and I could sit here and go through every bad quarterback and say, Derek Carr has a lot of pressure. We know, who else? Geno Smith has a lot of pressure. We know. But let's talk about the ones that are relevant. Tell me, Diesel, Tolo, 71307. He's never had pressure. He always does what he wants. He gets what he wants. He's the spoiled kid. Is there any pressure on Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kyler Murray because that could apply to him as well.
It could apply to him as well.
No, there's not a lot of pressure on it.
You don't think
Rodgers.
so?
No, Aaron Rodgers is essentially a mascot for the New York Jets. I don't think the New York Jets, honestly, I don't think the New York Jets really care if they win or lose. As long as they've got Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be relevant. Not necessarily for the best reasons, right? But they are going to be relevant. People are going to talk about them. People are going to see their logo online, on TV. They're going to sell jerseys because of it. Aaron Rodgers, for better or worse, is a lightning rod, right? So, I mean,
zero pressure
on him.
Man.
Zero. I mean,
that's pitiful though, right?
And hey, Cole, if an owner or a GM or a coach comes up to Aaron's locker and says, "Hey, Aaron, here's the deal, man. You're not performing. You're not playing well." He's going to have a 15-minute diatribe on why it's not his fault, why it's somebody else's fault. He's going to throw everybody else around him under the bus. It's not because I didn't show up for the first day of practice. It's not because, I'm doing all these dumb things. It's not because I'm going on the Pat McAfee show every week or whatever. He's going to have excuses, and he's going to dumbfound whoever it is he's talking to into just walking away from him and saying, fine, don't worry about it. We don't care. He is the NFL's Milton Wadhams.
I cannot wait. Cole Bryson cannot wait for Aaron Rodgers to retire.
JD says Aaron Rodgers is to the Jets as LeBron is to the Lakers.
Oh,
that's
JD.
not far off.
That's tough.
You're on to something there, JD. They're very, very different. One helps their team win. The other one goes and sits in a dark room and pouts when he's angry.
That's tough. I can't push back, though. Can't push back. All right. A few more I want to get to before we hit a break. Our guy right here in the upstate, Mr. Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, this will be his third year under Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that the first year with Urban Meyer, you throw that out the window, right? He was just an absolute train wreck. But how much pressure, let's call it like it is here. He flopped. The Jaguars flopped in the second half of last season. They started 8-2, Diesel. In my opinion, there's some serious pressure here on Trevor.
There is a lot of pressure on him. They just gave him a $55 million contract, right?
Yeah.
And they just spent a ton of money, or they just got approval for $1.5 billion to renovate that stadium. We've read articles and read posts from Shad Khan saying it is time to win now. So eventually it's all going to come down on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. And there's going to be a time when there's no more excuses of you're fresh in the league, you dealt with injuries, you dealt with this, you dealt with that. Eventually you either win or you go down in history as somebody who could never get it done.
No, I agree. You got to put up or shut up, right? And I think that, look, Trevor Lawrence, I think his most difficult year, even though his rookie season was very difficult with Urban Meyer, Diesel, I think his most difficult year was last year.
Who kicks a kicker?
Yeah, really. What I mean is, think about this. When you have the start to the season that the Jaguars did last year, and it all comes crashing down and burns the way it did, that just can't sit well with a guy who's a winner like Trevor. There is, to your point, I agree with you. There's a tremendous amount of pressure. He just did it. I mean, he just got paid. How much? You said $55 million contract. That's like, in the NFL, they pay you based on expectations. Diesel, here's the money. Now you got to perform, right? It's not perform and then get the money.
They gave him a Joe Burrow level contract as tying for the highest paid quarterback in the league. Like, you got to go perform now. He's entering no more excuses territory.
No, I agree.
No more excuses. We've given you everything you've wanted. Now's the time for you to go get it done.
To end this segment, I'm not going to go through every quarterback in the NFL, but I'm going to name 4 or 5, Diesel. And of the 4 or 5 I name, I want you to pick one, in your opinion, of the 4 or 5 I named that have the most pressure on them. Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Russell Wilson.
Of those, I'm going to say Jared Goff.
Ooh, I didn't think you were going to go there.
Yeah, Jared Goff he's now on a good team, a very, very good team, who now expects to go out and win. They have changed the culture in Detroit. It is his expectation to go out and win now, right? I mean, Russell Wilson, he's old. If he goes out and wins and looks great, people are like, oh, that's awesome. What a great story. He did it one more time. With Baker Mayfield, nobody really expects Baker to turn it around and be great, do they? No, he's just another one of those should have been great, wasn't great for the longest time, finally found some success type of guys. I think Tua is fine exactly where he is. Kyler Murray, I think a lot of people have already mentally written that dude off. So of those 5, it's Jared Goff.
Yeah, you know what? It may be painful to say, but I think people have written him off.
When we come back, Cole, it is time for us to be joined by Shane Connuck, who covers NASCAR for the Charlotte Observer. So you Tolos, looking at you, JD and Madcraft, who are big-time NASCAR fans, Hit us up if you got any questions, burning ideas, burning things that are in the back of your mind for Shane Connuck. We'll talk NASCAR with Shane next. NASCAR is coming off of a rain-soaked and soggy weekend at Loudon, New Hampshire. They're headed southwest down to Nashville. To talk NASCAR, we go to Shane Connuck, who covers NASCAR for the Charlotte Observer. Shane, an hour ago, Cole and I were dreaming up our scenarios for what a golf all-star weekend would look like. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. NASCAR does a really good job with their all-star weekends, the cruise skills challenges. I just want to know from you, Shane, what position, tire man, jack man, gas man, catch can man, would Shane Connuck be most successful at if somebody got sick and they tapped you on the shoulder and said, hey, we need you, kid, you're up?
What's up, guys? I think it would be being the fuel man, because that's something that I do regularly anyway, because we all have to drive somewhere. Anywhere we're driving, we have to go to a gas station eventually, fill up our gas tank. So that's something that even if I'm not necessarily around NASCAR, I'm not every day changing a tire, even if I do that occasionally and now see it done more frequently. So I would say that it would be the fuel, whatever the exact term of it is. But that is something that I learned about recently with the winner of this week's location of the race last year, Ross Chastain's pit crew recently at Trackhouse Racing, about what those guys do every day. And let me tell you, those guys are athletes. And it is really interesting to see what those guys bring to this sport.
Shane Connuck, always a pleasure having you on, Shane. Here we are at the end of June, almost July. What would Shane Connuck say that the biggest storyline in NASCAR has been thus far this season?
Been that we've had a handful of historic moments in different ways, one of which being that we have been able to race on wet weather tires. We saw it at the end this past week. If you don't understand NASCAR, it would sound, tires, this, that. But this is a sport where if it ever rains, any amount of dampness on the track, not racing for a little bit. These rain tires now allow for even more compelling racing than you might have had otherwise in a safer way, which is what we've always wanted to have. We were able to end last week's race after 6 hours on those tires. That is a huge deal, because that now opens the door to have racing at all different, even more times. You're able to have it when these delays were always a big thing. When you get to roll around once a week and then you have to sit around for hours, now you can have it even more action-packed race. In addition to that, we've had photo finishes multiple times. We had an action-packed Daytona 500 this year, the big one toward the end. It's that we have had moments that have been unprecedented in a sport where every race you're going to have a completely different outcome. So it has been in a lot of ways a historic year for the sport, but in those specific ways, it's really moving forward, and it's really been a fun year to be around NASCAR.
Joined by Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer, who covers NASCAR. Shane, it's official now. Chase Briscoe, who's 15th in the points, will step into Martin Truex's number 19 Joe Gibbs racing car next season. How did this whole thing come to be? I mean, it's certainly good for Joe Gibbs Racing, who will have, I think, 4 of the top 15 drivers inside of its building next year. And can you kind of put into perspective with your answer, how important to the ownership groups are these owner standings? Do they really matter to them?
Chase Briscoe coming to JGR is a big get. They had to get an up-and-coming younger driver to step into that number 19 car, and that is what Chase Briscoe is providing. Had made the playoffs, advanced deep 2 years ago, has been with Stewart-Haas Racing, which, as we know, a bigger team in the sport. And Briscoe now, as he heads to JGR, that's important, like you guys said, to have teams, especially like that one, the leading Toyota team that has 4 cars in the Cup Series, to have all 4 or most of those drivers to have good shots at the playoffs every single year. And that's what JGR has been with for a while now, for as long as it's existed, really. And as you've had not even just the Kyle Busch at JGR era, to now have Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. as long as they are, Truex retiring, Briscoe now stepping in. These teams, it's important to try and win these owners' championships. And going back to last year, Chase Elliott, who quickly is back to the top of the standings week in, week out when we look this year, even though he's only got 1 win to his name. But last year, when he had the 6-race period in which he did not competed all, and he ended up missing the playoffs. It was very important to him, and he talked about it. I mean, he probably also wanted to have something to talk about when he was not competing in the playoffs in the round of 16, but that he was competing for Hendrick Motorsports to try and bring home that owner's championship. And I do believe that, especially for whether it's a smaller team with one or two cars that values every point it gets like that from those one or two drivers, that for a big team like JGR that's leading the way with Toyotas and has been in a lot of ways leading the way in the sport for other teams like 2311 and all these development programs, these Xfinity programs, it is a big deal for these teams to not only potentially win the championship or compete for it, but to have 3 or 4 cars that are capable of winning the race every single week.
Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer joining us right here on The Fan Upstate. I'm Cole Bryson. He's Diesel. Shane, a buddy of mine, Brock, who is a big NASCAR fan, he's my, I guess you would say, he's my NASCAR tutor in a way. You know, golf and NASCAR are the two sports that I ask a lot of questions about because they're not my favorite sports in the world. So he asked me to ask you a fascinating question about NASCAR capitalizing right now with no other major sports on. Football, gone. Hockey, over. Basketball, over. Or baseball, over. Excuse me, basketball is over. Baseball is still going on. But to that point, to that question, how would you say NASCAR could capitalize on no other major sports besides Major League Baseball going on right now?
It's a great question. It's something that the sport continues to talk a lot about, and a big reason why it's adding that in-season tournament next year. So we're going to have, it is a 5-race stretch. The 5 races that are going to be broadcast on TNT Sports in the middle of the season during these kind of summer months, around the time of the year that we are in right now. Next year are going to be an in-season tournament. You're going to have drivers paired up against each other in a March Madness style bracket, and drivers trying to finish higher than one other driver on the grid. And fans are going to be able to have bracket challenges and bet on individual matchups and have parlays and all that fun stuff. And the big belief is that on top of everything else and the action that's going to create within the sport, that during these few months when Major League Baseball is really the only other major sport happening, that this can make those 5 NASCAR races that are on TNT Sports not necessarily really mean something, but this is going to make them mean something. This is going to have, just like the NBA had this past year, which the inaugural winner of the in-season tournament. So that's going to be something already next year that's going to add something to just really spice up the competition among these races in the middle of the season, as opposed to just the sport will just be on as it always has been during the months of July, August, when it's behind other sports. And then also next year, the 5 races that are on Amazon Prime Video before that, then you'll get to NBC and Peacock, and then afterward. So that will be, or a certain race on Peacock. So that'll be just breaking up the schedule even more and emphasizing different races, having them mean different things. And the hope all of that brings more eyeballs to the sport during these summer months as soon as next year.
Find him on Twitter at Shane_Connuck. Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. You know, the city there in Charlotte just approved $650 million to improve Bank of America Stadium. We've all seen the renderings of the facelift that they're planning to that stadium. And over the past couple of weeks, we've talked about NASCAR attracting new viewers and getting creative with the way they attract new viewers. And we've just talked about this new look in-season tournament. Do you foresee, Shane, a day when NASCAR venues start getting these, almost billion-dollar facelifts to their facilities to try to attract people that way?
Honestly, I've been really impressed to see how state-of-the-art aspects of these more modern racetracks are becoming in different places. And there are always going to be plenty of aspects of the racetrack they're going to have be similar no matter where you go. You look up at the grandstands, you have some kind of banking on the track, but then certain places are a completely different vibe when you walk around the infield at, say, Talladega compared to Daytona or Phoenix now, that have different bars and restaurants in the middle of the infield, and clearly trying to bring different cultures and different businesses to the track, that ultimately bring different people to the racetrack. And it's really cool to see how these places keep becoming more and more modernized. But in terms of having one of these big, what Bank of America Stadium's looking to do, what these NFL stadiums that are looking to host Super Bowls and major events, it wouldn't surprise me if racetracks come to that point soon, because these racetracks, you look at NFL stadiums. Why are big concerts often held in football stadiums? Because they're the largest venues. We all remember years back when Tennessee played Virginia Tech inside of Bristol Motor Speedway, because think about these racetracks. They can fit 150,000 people in them, some of them. And so to keep, especially Charlotte Motor Speedway here, hosting big non-racing related events, it seems like it's a matter of time before one of these bigger racetracks tries to make that step forward. And then who knows what kinds of events we can continue to see be held inside of these racetracks, the same way we see big events be able to cross over different sports and create even bigger, to elevate the atmosphere for different sports.
And Shane, juxtapose that with the vibe at North Wilkesboro, where it's all very, very stripped down and very almost kind of run down in a way. And fans really kind of love that. So it's going to be interesting to see, the fans who love the old school, no frills kind of vibe versus the fans who are attracted to all of the bells and whistles.
And either way, it's still going to the racetrack. And
Right.
that's something that's cool about NASCAR. I feel like other sports, you can go to some of these really new stadiums and everything really becomes about the experience, and then it really takes away from what's on the field. But when you go to a NASCAR race, everything is about experiencing pit road and walking around the grid and seeing the cars and hearing the engines. And you could be in any suite, you could be down on right next to the cars themselves when they're firing the engines. But no matter what, it's an experience that really is going to always relate back to the race itself.
Shane, what can fans expect this Sunday at the Nashville Super Speedway?
We have a racetrack just over a mile long, a race won by Ross Chastain last year. It's going to be – he won that race from the pole a year ago.
Wow.
And Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, recent winners there. I think we're going to see another race on a mile-ish long track that's going to – I think it will produce. I think Elliott's going to win this week. I think we're going to see another repeat winner. But because considering for a guy like Elliott, how well he continues to run every single week and accumulate those points with the fact he's only gotten a victory lane once, and now we see Christopher Bell joining the Kyle Larsons, William Byrons, Denny Hamlins of the world with 3 wins to their name already, a little bit more than halfway through. Chase Elliott's a multi-win driver, and I think that at a track where he's already won, to see him return to victory lane.
Shane, do you think there's any possibility, being that Nashville is a non-traditional track for the Cup Series, but it is a very heavily used track in the Xfinity and the Truck Series, do you see any drivers who have spent a lot of time in those two who have now made their way up into the Cup Series, maybe finding some success this weekend just based on their familiarity with Nashville?
I think we could see that. Last year we saw Justin Haley qualify in the top 10 and I believe had a strong finish at Nashville on that note. And so I think that is going to be something we'll see. And to that point, we're seeing older drivers step in to some of these other series at Nashville. Most notably, Clint Boyer will be driving the 7 for Spire Motorsports in the Truck Series race tonight.
Shane, great stuff as always, man. I appreciate you educating our audience and also educating me because I need it desperately on NASCAR. And you're absolutely the best. Can't wait to talk to you again soon, man.
Really fun to talk with you guys every single week, and can't wait to do it again. And we'll see what we got after Nashville this week.
That is Shane Connuck,
Thanks,
the
Shane.
Charlotte Observer. Always a fantastic job. Appreciate him hopping on. Just a quick update, Diesel, before we hit a break. Akshay Bhatia is the leader in the clubhouse right now at the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. I actually met him when I was in Charlotte a couple of months ago. And, he's the guy that everybody talks about being the social media sensation, right? New to golf. He's an American golfer, even though his name doesn't sound American. It confused me at first, not being a golf guy. But everybody you talk to that knows golf says, look, this guy, who, by the way, had an incredible finish last week, finished top 5, they say this guy's going to be the guy to watch over the next few years. Tom Kim playing good as well this weekend.
Do we know if Scotty has entered this tournament? I'm scrolling down the list here of the leaderboard, and I'm seeing a couple of big names, not a ton of big names.
Nope.
I'm seeing, let's see, Will Zalatoris is in this tournament. Who else? Ricky Fowler is here. Not a ton of big guys. You know, Tom Kim, who pushed Scotty Scheffler last week all the way to the brink. He is in this tournament. But yeah, this one feels like it's a little bereft of some of the biggest names in sports. And I remember a couple of years ago where the PGA really kind of clapped back at a lot of its golfers for taking too many weeks off and really only kind of going to the biggest tournaments. They said, hey, guys, you know, load management. It was when load management was such a huge conversation in the NBA. Like, hey, guys, you're the stars. People come to our events because they know you're going to be there. So we need you to be there.
I don't have an issue with every now and then.
No.
Scotty not competing.
No.
Like maybe he just doesn't have anywhere else to put all the money, you know? I mean, that could be it.
Yeah, maybe he's out renting a storage unit, you know, a place to stash all of his cash.
I mean, it could be. He's been raking it in. So we'll see if Akshay, the young American golfer, can pull it off this weekend. I like him a lot. He's really fun to follow, especially his social media stuff. Helps you get into it.
You know, after that scene in Breaking Bad when Bill Burr and the other guy lay back on that big pile of cash, I've always wanted to do that. You know, it's
it'd be great.
It's pallets of $100 bills stacked up. How much fun would it be to lay down on that? Just take a little nap on who's on the $100 bill? Benjamin Franklin?
Yeah, I'd collect them and then go get a nice room and then lay down, right?
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, Atlanta Braves weekend. A rough week for the Braves. What do we need to see from them this weekend next?
Troy Merritt, 64. Highsmith, 64. That's low rounds of the day. Might have been one other.
Raul Pereira had quite the bounce back, 77-64, but not sure it'll be enough to see the weekend with that cut line.
Diesel, I'm throwing in some audio of the Rocket Mortgage Classic live right now. How do I get an accent like that?
Well, you
Where do I sign up?
You just have to move to a foreign country.
Well, I would love to have it.
Yeah, if you move to like Australia, they'll be like, "Oh my God, listen to his accent. Listen to that Spartanburg accent."
I moved to Texas and they did that.
Yeah, listen to that Spartanburg accent.
I want this accent.
They say, "Oh crikey, listen to that Yank with his southern accent." You.
I want that so bad, man. I just love their accent. It is fantastic. That's probably the main reason I
used
watch
to take golf lessons from an Australian woman.
Really?
That was fun. I couldn't understand most of what she was saying.
An Australian woman.
But she was a heck of a golf. She was a PGA champion.
Wow.
Yeah, she's really good.
That's you should be a pretty good golfer then.
I mean, I improved a lot.
Okay.
I improved a lot from learning from her.
All right, the Atlanta Braves this weekend. I have sent in a request to Brian Snitker, Alex Anthopoulos, and the Braves that, we as Braves fans don't need to be let down this weekend. We don't really need to be disappointed. So I've asked kindly for them to not choke this weekend, at least win 2 of 3. I don't know if that's a possibility at this point in the season, but the Braves do have the Pirates this weekend. Diesel, a formidable team. A quick note, though, on the Braves. This is very important for next weekend, Braves fans. The Philadelphia Phillies have placed Bryce Harper, left hamstring strain, and Kyle Schwarber, left groin strain, on the 10-day IL today. So neither move by the Phillies was retroactive. So they will both miss. 2 of their best players will both miss next weekend series in Atlanta.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Probably not.
Oh, yeah, they still got a lot of guys smacking the ball.
They're still smacking the ball. And, that's a note for next weekend. But this weekend they have the Pirates, as I said, tonight, 7:20. It is Martin Perez versus Charlie Morton.
Pirates are 39-41 on the season. On the road, they are 20-21.
Is that right?
Yeah. So they're a 500 ball club on the road.
Man.
Let's see. The Braves at home are 24-13. So being the fact this series is being played in Atlanta, if the Braves lose this series, man, they are in trouble because you're a really good baseball team at home. And if you can't beat up an average team on the road, you're in trouble.
Here's what I don't understand. The Braves tonight, and again, the Pirates are 39-41, so below 500. But what I don't understand tonight is if we're talking a little bit of gambling, the Braves are minus 200, so they're pretty heavy favorites. And here's what I do not understand with Charlie Morton being on the mound, a guy that's been a liability for the Braves this season, going against Martin Perez, who is an absolute animal, who was absolutely a huge part of the Rangers' World Championship a year ago. Martin Perez is the better pitcher here. Martin Perez is the much better. Has he had a good year? No, he's 1-3 with a 4.71 ERA. But Martin Perez is a really good pitcher, and Charlie Morton is not a really good pitcher right now. I would say that the Pirates should be. I don't want to say favor tonight because at the end of the day, the Braves have a better lineup top to bottom, but the Pirates with Martin Perez really have an advantage. So if you wanted to make a little money, a little profit, you could risk little and win big tonight by betting on Pittsburgh. Hopefully it's not
true. Why the
though.
heck do the Braves keep Charlie Morton on? He's been there 4 years. Every year we're talking about him being an average at best pitcher, especially in the regular
playoffs,
season.
And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, in 2021, he was 14-6. Pretty good. 2022, 9-6. 2023, 14-12. So far this season, 4-4. He's never, his best ERA was in his first year in 2021, and that was a 3.34.
Yeah.
He achieved a 3.64 in the entire season last year. Right now, he's at a 4.2.
Well, here's the bad news. If you don't win the night, if you don't beat Martin Perez, behind Charlie Morton. Tomorrow, yeah, you have Max Fried, but you're also going up against the rookie sensation of Paul Skeens. So,
what do you think? Livy Dunn's going to be there?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Ooh, I hope so. When we come back, Cole, let's fight about it. We have a segment we like to do every single day at 5 o'clock called the 5 o'clock fight. You and I have to take the opposite side of an issue, and the Tolos tell us who wins the fight. That's coming up next. Would you look at that, Cole? Oilers Kate listens to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, and she loves you.
I don't know what Katie that is, but get in line, Katie. I mean, get in line. Oilers Kate. That's funny.
Oilers Kate. And Madcraft was right. She apparently has signed a deal with Playboy to do a spread. Congratulations to Oilers Kate.
Wow.
You know what? Making something of your life. An oil worker flashed her hoo-ha's at an Oilers playoff game, and look at her now. She is nationally and internationally.
If that's her that texted in, I'll this will be my last show with you, dude.
Yeah, it's been nice knowing you. I will slow golf clap for you as you ride away in her car.
Hey, did Tom Kim make that putt, by the way? I totally missed it. How did I miss it? We were on break.
He was at -2 when he teed off on that par 3, and he missed it.
What?
He missed his putt.
Here.
It wasn't an easy putt, man. He was probably putting from 12 or 15 feet away. See, this is one of the things that annoys me about golf, right? Like, you're there, play ready golf. Can we just play ready golf? I know that it's PGA. Yeah, just go ahead and put it in. You're there. You're ready. It's a foot away. Go ahead and knock it in. You ain't got to do this thing.
Is that his choice or somebody else's?
It's PGA rules. Whoever's farthest away putts first.
Well, that's dumb.
But no, he's ready. Like, everybody who goes out and plays golf, like normal people, you play ready golf.
Yeah,
like
who does that on the course?
You're ready. Go hit your putt. Like, you know.
Does anybody actually do that? Like, hey,
some do.
His ball's farther.
I mean, you should do that if you know, if you're playing in a tournament, or B, if like one guy is way out, right? Let that guy putt first. But otherwise, just get him to hit your putt. Like, we don't need to do this whole thing. Anyway, here at 5 o'clock each and every day, you and I do a segment that is the most interacted with segment on the show every single day. And it's because you, Tolos, are great. You, Tolos, understand the assignment. You show up at 5 o'clock every single day. You tell us who wins each round of the 5 o'clock fight. Madcraft said, told you. It's because Madcraft's already pre-ordered his copy. Hi-oh. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan, or hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube and drop a comment. Who wins each round of the 5 o'clock fight? It's time right now for us to get it on. Cole, you want dinner, but you don't really feel like going out for dinner. Do you order Grubhub or any one of the food delivery services and pay the fees, which are ridiculous, by the way? Or do you go get it yourself?
Fun fact, I've never used Grubhub. I used the other one, DoorDash.
Okay.
But same thing, same principle, right?
Yeah.
Same question.
Your choices essentially are pay more for your food and have to wait a while and get it when it's probably a little bit cold and potentially tampered with.
Yeah.
Or you got to get your ass out of your house and go get it yourself.
So here is the one pro, the one benefit of living right off of Highway 9. There's a million choices. Mm-hmm. You don't have to drive far. So, you know, I used to be that DoorDash guy. I used to be. However, not anymore, Diesel. If I have to go get dinner and I want to go out, or if I have to go get dinner rather, and I'm deciding if I want to go out or just order online delivery, I'll get in the car and I'll go get it. That's the best way. Yep. You know, really? I don't want somebody touching my food in their car, their dog hair. I'll pass. Yeah, but we are living in a world, Cole, of ultimate convenience, right? Isn't the convenience of having somebody do it for you all of the stuff, right? All you got to do is go on an app and order from the app, and then you just sit back and wait so you can do whatever else you need to do with your evening, which usually just means sitting there and doom scrolling until you hear a knock at the door. Yeah, man, I like ordering Grubhub. Even though it's lazy, I know that it's lazy. I would rather somebody else just do all that stuff for me. It saves me the money, the gas going to get it. Saves wear and tear and mileage on my vehicle because I live in Malden. Ain't nothing good in Malden. They got to bring that stuff all the way from Woodruff Road. That's a long way to go. And I know there's Grubhub and DoorDash drivers over there on that side of town. Just let them bring it to me. I'd rather have them bring it to me. What say you, Tolos? Who wins that round? 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Let's go to round number 2.
So here's a good one, Cole. You put this one down. It's a continuation of question number 1. Let's say that you do go out.
Okay.
You decide, you know what? I don't want to pay the $9 and get dog hair on my food. I'd rather just go out and get it. I have no idea.
Oh.
Do you go and sit inside by yourself and eat the meal, or do you order it to go?
It's a great question.
That is if you're alone. And
Alone.
I got no problem eating alone.
So it's a great question. If I'm not with somebody else, if I'm not with a group of people or somebody else, just me and them, I'm going to go with the to-go option. Either I have no problem standing there waiting on it. No, I'm not the biggest. I don't love sitting there. If you are by yourself, let's say on, lunch break or whatever, I'd rather get it to go, eat it at the office here or eat it at home, man.
No, man. If I'm going, I want my food as hot and fresh and ready as I can. So if I'm out, I'm going inside and I'm going to sit and eat by myself.
Really?
Like, I don't care about sitting and eating by myself. Like, people get weirded out. Like, I don't know. They feel lonely if they go somewhere. Like, you can't go to a movie by yourself. Like, you're not going to talk to anyone in there anyway. So just go by yourself. You're going to sit there and doom scroll on your phone while you eat. It's fine. Just go inside and eat it. Eat it as hot and fresh as you possibly can. Go inside. Don't take it to go, because then you got to do that same thing where it's a 15-minute drive back to your house and then the food's cold by the time you get there. No,
or half the food's cold because you ate half of it.
I'm going home. I'm going inside the restaurant. I'm going inside the restaurant to eat. What say you? Hit us up on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone with your votes. You can do that as well at 844-326-3663. Now, if you happen to be on the fence because you think one of us won round 1, the other one won round 2, we got one more to go. That should be the ultimate decider of who wins this whole thing. Who will be a head coach in the NFL again first?
Ooh.
Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel?
God, what a question. This one's tough. This one's really, really tough. Do we get a whole segment for this? I mean, seriously, he's an assistant coach right now for the Browns. Mike Vrabel is. Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old. So at least Mike Vrabel is coaching. He is an assistant in Cleveland. I'll go Mike Vrabel here, getting a job before the old Belichick 24-year-old woman like her. I'm going Mike Vrabel.
Well, Vrabel is just a shade over 500 in his career, 545. I don't know that a whole lot of teams are going to say, you know what, let's take another shot at this retread coach. But Bill Belichick's got a name. He's got instant credibility.
Street cred.
Street cred. It's like, that's the reason why you sign Aaron Rodgers, because people are going to be talking about you. You hire Belichick because he immediately brings a ton of attention to your franchise. So it's going to be Bill Belichick. It's going to be old Bill.
Oh, old Bill is who you're going to hire before Mike Vrabel.
So, like, we've eliminated a couple of, the variables in the Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady recipe for success. And look, Brady was successful on his own. We don't know yet, like, if it's Bill or if it's Robert's ultimate leadership. Can Bill go somewhere else and be good and ultimately put it all on Robert Kraft and say, oh, Robert Kraft's the toxic thing here? It was his fault. It was all Bobby Kraft's fault.
I just don't know, like, with Bill being out of the game. Bill being out of the game is what concerns me. Listen, would I hire him? Probably so. Would I be excited if he coached my Dallas Cowboys next year? Probably so. I'd find a reason to be excited about it, right?
Yeah.
Is he the offensive mind that we all thought he was? We always knew he was a defensive coach, but we thought that maybe he did know a little bit about offense, or I guess we found out Tom Brady was the guy that really carried the Patriots offense, because when Brady left, the Patriots offense quite sucked. So I guess that's the question mark on Bill, is the offensive side of the ball. He'd have to have a really good coordinator with him, but I would go, I still think Mike Vrabel is a good coach and will land.
The thing is, if I'm Bill Belichick and I've got a 24-year-old girlfriend, I don't want to go back into coaching. Well, she's going to break up with you, Bill, if you spend all your time coaching some team all over again. this relationship's not going to work, right? You got to do what's best for your lady, Bill. Enjoy your time, your remaining years that you've got with her. Look at her in a bikini.
Just in general.
Yeah, just, you know what? Just, I think Bill will get hired first, but if I'm Bill, I don't want to get hired. Now that I've got a hot 24-year-old girlfriend, nah, man, I don't want to work.
She may want him, however.
I don't want to work. I just want to bang on them drums all day.
I didn't know where that was going.
Yeah.
Well, the bang.
There you go. That's our 5 o'clock fight. A recap round 1. You want to go out, you want dinner, but you don't want to go out. Are you ordering Grubhub or are you going to get it yourself? Cole says, I'm going myself. I say, no, I want to sit around and wait for you to bring it to me. Round 2, if you're out and you're by yourself, will you go into the restaurant and eat, or will you just order it to go? I said, I'll go in and eat by myself. That doesn't bother me none. Cole always orders it to go. And round 3, who's going to be a head coach in the NFL again? First, I said Bill Belichick. Cole said Mike Vrabel. What do you think? Who wins each round?
Yeah, all right, Diesel, you going to go stream?
I'll go stream. I just want to remind people, if you want to get your votes in, 71307, start your text with keyword fan or comment on the Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube stream. I will go with the YouTube stream. How about that?
Do it.
Okay, let's see here. We have a message here from Spur Daddy. It says, Cole wins round 1. I'm tired of paying all those frickin' fees. Spur Daddy says Cole wins round 2 and Cole wins round 3. Is Spur Daddy giving you the sweep today, friend?
Thanks, Spur.
Spur Daddy. I
thought we were closer. Spur was the man.
I thought we were closer than that. Madcraft says, I hope my mother heard that on the radio. That was me talking about him pre-ordering his copy of the Oilers Kate Playboy edition. Let's see. Madcraft says Cole wins round 1. Diesel wins round 2. And Cole wins round 3 and gets a win. He says the problem with takeout is you may run out of sauce or drink or all those things. You can't, you don't have unlimited of those items.
It's true.
If you do takeout or delivery.
No, it's true. I get it. I appreciate getting the win from Spur.
But if you're a modern human being, you've got paper towels in your house. You've got ketchup in your house.
Modern human being.
You got water. You got, whatever it is you like to drink.
Good point. G on the text line says Cole wins it all. So appreciate that. G, has Diesel, can we confirm, has Diesel gotten a win today?
I've gotten one. I got the round 2 win from Madcraft.
Wait a minute. Bullwinkle always chooses Diesel.
That's not true. He picked you yesterday.
Did he really?
I think so.
All right. Bullwinkle says Diesel wins all 3. Belichick will coach again next year. I enjoy eating alone sometimes as well.
Heck yeah.
And Diesel wins the week. Bullwinkle. Diesel wins every round. Can you just start texting it at 5 on the dot and say Diesel wins before we even get to him? Because you always do that. You always choose Diesel on the text line. Come on. Texter from the 706 says Diesel round 1, Diesel round 2, Cole round 3. So I didn't get swept, but Diesel, there's your second win today.
I love it. I love it. Who's this third texter down, Cole? What's going on with this?
That's Alex Guest. Alex Guest, co-host of mine on the Saturday Scramble. He is trying to get me to read things on the text line. He is messing with me. Earlier when Katie said I love you, that was they must be driving down the road bored. They're messing.
That's called a power couple right there.
It is.
She says, if I say Cole wins 3 out of 3, will you Snapchat me like you do my husband?
I can't promise.
Oh,
can't promise. Bullwinkle says, Cole, I had you take it down yesterday. Get out of your feelings. Bullwinkle, my memory is so bad. I can't remember what I had for lunch today, Bullwinkle. I don't even remember what we voted on yesterday, what the 5 o'clock fight was yesterday, Bullwinkle.
I think we voted in the runoff election yesterday, Cole.
Well, Bullwinkle, if you voted for me yesterday, as you said, you did. I believe you. I just, like I said, I forget.
Bull something.
Hey, did we, again, my memory is so bad, perfect example. Have we ran the outro yet?
Yes, we did.
See? Look at that.
Yes, we did. Madcraft says, I just received a call from my mother. Thanks, Diesel.
What did you do?
That's because you used her credit card to order it, Mad.
I'm lost.
I'm digging a deeper and deeper hole for him. He was reminding me that there was the Oilers Kate Playboy spread that's coming out. I made the joke again, mother mad. I made a joke that Madcraft's already pre-ordered his copy. And then he says, I'm going to get a call from my mom. And then he did get a call from his mom. And then I said he used his mom's credit card to buy it. So this is just devolving, man. It's spiraling.
That's bad. You owe him an apology. Alex also asked on the text line as his son Keith, who is 2 today. He texted in as Keith, I'm 2 today. I highly doubt a 2-year-old can text. Maybe in the world we live in.
Incredible thumb strength.
I mean, really.
Put a golf club in that kid's hand, and 15 years from now, he's going to make you rich.
It is 2024, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about yesterday with VHS.
Hey, I know a lot of people who text like 2-year-olds, and they're 30.
Sometimes I do that, so I'm guilty. You mean like if I say you, like spell out just the letter U instead of Y-O-U? Is that what you mean?
That's a good example of it.
Do I do that?
Yeah, sometimes. It's lazy.
It is lazy, but I do it. I do it. Absolutely. I text like
you said do.
I know. That's why I said it just for you. I text like a 2-year-old sometimes. I get it. Hey, it's better than voice to text when, voice sometimes gets it, sometimes doesn't. You never know if Siri's going to understand what you're saying. Better than that.
I do use voice to text, and it's a pain in the ass.
You know what's better than that? I need to start using more, but I don't for whatever reason. And I think it's because it's not as accessible, but the recording. Like if I was going to text you, and here it is literally doing voice to text right now. You know how I can send you a voice recording? Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's just like a text, but I just record it. Speaking of that, we need to bring back here in the next couple of weeks. We need to bring back AI.
Yeah.
Need to bring that back. We did that, the first week of the show?
Voice control or voice print or whatever it was called.
So now I've accidentally hit the voice to text button on my keyboard, Diesel, and it won't stop. How do I get it? I mean, it's literally, it's going nonstop right now.
Are you going to send me this? Are you sending me a 10-minute voice message here? Damn it, Cole. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to listen to it.
Don't do it. All right. In the very next segment, by the way, you can text the show as well, 71307. We got off the rails there a little bit, but it's okay. That's what we do in the summer. It is June, almost July. Not a ton of sports to get to right now. But in the very next segment, before we do that, though, thank you for the reminder, Diesel. We're going to get to some South Carolina Clemson conversation in the next segment. Before we do, I forgot I put Billy Bob from yesterday on hold, and I was about to go to break without getting to Billy Bob. That's my fault, Billy Bob. I apologize. What's up?
Hey, Cole. About Bill Belichick, one thing that you should have asked here is this. So it's not if he's a coach again next year, because he might. But the question here is, will his girlfriend break up with him before Cade Klubnik throws an interception against Georgia in the opener? That's the question that needs to be asked.
God, where is Billy Bob getting these? These are great. That's 2 good ones in a row, 2 days in a row. Thanks for the call, Billy Bob. Will Bill Belichick's girlfriend break up with him before Cade Klubnik throws an interception against Georgia? Did that really just get asked?
Man, that's tough.
That is rough,
You're asking
Billy
if the
Bob.
relationship's going to last 3 months. 3 months.
Why are y'all assuming he's going to throw an interception against Georgia?
Why are you assuming this is not real love? Just because they're 48 years apart in age.
I know you may disagree. I like that call from Billy Bob today better than yesterday's. And yesterday was really good. It was promo worthy yesterday.
Just imagine being old enough to go get that backdoor exam before your girlfriend is even born.
Nah, I'm good. Madcraft says, man, that guy is something else, talking about Billy Bob. Billy Bob. I think I have the worst memory ever. I've already forgot yesterday he called about something, and you told me to put it on a promo. Why is my memory so bad? Do you remember
he
when
was
he
ripping on
this?
Clemson? He was ripping on Clemson.
So he's ripped on Clemson 2 days in a row. Is that true?
He has.
Wow. Will Bill Belichick's girlfriend break up with him before Cade Klubnik throws an interception against Georgia? He didn't say, Diesel, he didn't say before Cade throws an interception. He said
against Georgia. He's calling it. He's calling it.
That is a given, I guess, right? It's just a given that Cade will throw an interception against Georgia?
That's what he's saying.
Jeez, you people are terrible, but you might be right. We'll talk about – hey, speaking of Cade Klubnik, Diesel, we're going to talk a little South Carolina Clemson next. What do I mean by that? Well, South Carolina Clemson, in the very next segment, I want you and I to rank the units. There are 4 units here that we're going to rank. Offense for both teams, defense for both teams. That equals 4. We're going to rank them all in one ranking. Next, who will be at the top? You can also weigh in 71307. Start your text with the word fan. It is Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate 97.1 Spartanburg, 97.7 Greenville, anywhere in the world on the free Odyssey app. Diesel, August will be here before you know it. We'll be through these wonderful dog days of summer. I want to do a little exercise here. We all need a little exercise in our life, especially me. But this exercise, I want you and I to take a little bit of a closer look at the offensive unit, the defensive unit for both South Carolina and Clemson. I want to rank these units 1 through 4, South Carolina's offense, South Carolina's defense, and vice versa. I do believe that this year, sometimes when the rivalry is not as good, these two teams are really dominant, like the Trevor Lawrence and how bad South Carolina was at the time. This would not be a fun exercise. This would not be a good exercise because it'd be Clemson's offense, Clemson's defense, South Carolina, right? I do believe there is some parity between these units. So I ask you, do you have any issue with my list? And if so, where on my rankings, unit by unit? I'm going to start at the very bottom of the list. What I think will be in 2024, Diesel. Number 4, I think South Carolina's defense of the 4 will be the worst unit in 2024. Any pushback or disagreement there?
No, not really. No, I'm fine with that. And hey, somebody's got to come in last here.
Well, they do. Here's where I found this exercise difficult for one reason. They lost Xavier Legette on the offensive side, right? I really found it difficult when I ranked the units 1 to 4. I found it difficult as to where I was putting the defense versus the offense because while I do Diesel believe South Carolina's offense will be better, obviously losing Legette brings you down a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some might say, well, they lost Legette, South Carolina's offense will be worse of the 4. I put South Carolina's defense of the 4 units, Clemson and Carolina's offense and defense. I put South Carolina's defense dead last on my 4. And I put Clemson's offense number 3. Is that, again, EA Sports would disagree with me, right? I put Clemson's offense 3. So that would lead you to believe, that would lead our Tolos to believe that South Carolina's offense and Clemson's defense would be higher on the list because if Clemson's offense is 3rd, that means South Carolina's offense would have to be better. And it is. I have it at 2. And then I have Clemson's defense at 1. Any issue with my ranking of these 4 units, again, Clemson's defense 1, South Carolina's offense 2, Clemson's offense 3, and South Carolina's defense 4.
Yeah, I mean, I got an issue here because we have to start doing some predictions here. I know the other day I was yelling at somebody saying, "Hey, this is not about what you've done in the past. This is about this is not about what you could do in the future. This is about what you've done in the past." Well, now we're having to project a little bit here, right? What do we think they're going to be? Well, South Carolina's offense is changing an awful lot, right? They didn't have a particularly great offense last year. As a matter of fact, they were ranked 80th in the country in offense last year. Clemson's offense last year wasn't great either. They were 49th. So, I mean, the fact that South Carolina had an 80th ranked offense and they're replacing their quarterback and their best wide receiver, and Clemson had the 49th best offense and they are keeping their quarterback, which again is a big question mark, but you have to predict some form of improvement, even if it's marginal improvement from year 1 to year 2 of Cade Klubnik. So I would push back there and swap year 2 and 3. So I would have South Carolina's defense as the worst of these 4 units, South Carolina's offense as the 3rd, Clemson's offense as 2nd, and Clemson's defense 1st. Clemson's defense is going to be nasty again.
Yeah, it is. Spur Daddy on the stream. By the way, we're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Spur Daddy says, I disagree. Carolina's offense will be worse than their defense. Defense will be improved. offensive line has to be able to block someone before I can say their offense is going to be better than the defense. I hear you, Spur Daddy. I guess the only thing I would say to you is, as a Gamecock fan, who you are, can South Carolina's offensive line be any worse? Truly, can it be? I mean, Marquis Anderson coming back, obviously he suffered an injury last year. Marquis Anderson coming back to the offensive line, them adding a few guys, I don't think this offensive line is going to be any worse. Usually you would look at it and say, well, as bad as they were last year, there's only one way for them to go, and that's up. And I think they will be better.
South Carolina had the 93rd best defense last year, barely inside the top 100. I mean, that's bottom third. That's basically bottom third of FBS football. So, I mean, I haven't heard anything this past offseason that would tell me, wow, we're going to see some 40 position jump in South Carolina's defense. So that's a no-brainer. South Carolina's defense is probably going to be the worst. Even if they improve, they're probably going to be the worst. But will they increase enough to surpass the offense? No, I don't think so.
Clemson's defense, Diesel, looking at my rankings, Clemson's defense is 1 and South Carolina's defense is 4. There shouldn't be any pushback on those two.
No, there isn't.
So the only really, like, if you're a true football fan and you know South Carolina and Clemson football, the only concern, the only opinion you should have is on 2 and 3, where South Carolina's offense should be head-to-head versus Clemson's offense.
Yeah, you're asking me, do I think South Carolina's offense is going to be better than Clemson's offense this year? I can't see it. That's not to say that it can't happen. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
But with all the question marks that they have on that offensive side of the football and the fact they couldn't protect Spencer Rattler last year and they made him run, they could get better. They could certainly get better this year. And that's one of those things that, here we are in the offseason, man, we're just predicting, we're riffing.
I don't think it'll be light years better. I just think their offense will be more efficient. I think they'll be able to block better. I think their run schemes will be better with Sean Elliott. Sean Elliott's a heck of a coach. I think their run game will be better. So numbers-wise, and hear me on this, Spur Daddy, numbers-wise, their offense this year may not be better, okay? I'm not saying that numbers-wise they're going to blow last year's statistics out of the water. I just think that they'll be more efficient. Efficient doesn't always mean more stats, more yards. Efficient doesn't even always mean more. Efficient means more efficient at what you do, and sometimes those numbers could be less because you're more efficient at running the football and blocking and run scheming, which was a terrible part of South Carolina's offensive line last year. You got really good hires in Sean Elliott and Mike Furry in the wide receivers room. Yeah, you lost a really good receiver to the NFL, but I feel like you have a good staff in place, in my opinion, a better staff in place with Loggins, Furry, Elliott, and Beamer than you had last year.
Yeah, Clemson's offense, I think, is going to see a slight uptick. And where were they at last year? They were the 49th best offense. I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson gets themselves up into the low 30s. If they can jump about 15 spots this year with a really good defense, I think you've got a potentially very scary football team, not as good offensively as they need to be to go to win a national championship. I'm certainly not even remotely picking that. But in the ACC, with Florida State having question marks, depending on what happens with Miami's schedule, I mean, I could see them being a playoff-worthy team, but certainly not good enough to go win this thing.
And I'll get back to that. I'm glad you said that about it, the ACC, because that was a point I wanted to get back to. But real quick, texter from the 327. Both these teams are in O-line purgatory and have been for a while. Yeah, I mean, I would say South Carolina more so than Clemson, texter, but Clemson's had some good ones over the last few years. They haven't been elite, but purgatory might be a little bit of a too strong of a word for Clemson's offense.
Madcraft says Clemson's offense will be amazing if we go by the EA standards. Where were they? 10th in offensive rankings?
That's exactly right.
Which is ludicrous.
So
absolutely ludicrous.
Here's what's interesting. When we talk about, talk about South Carolina's offense and Clemson's offense. in 2024. If you and I come back to this very subject, Diesel, in December with a stat sheet of Clemson's offensive efficiency versus South Carolina's offensive efficiency, you and I may very well say in December, well, Clemson's offense was better in 2024. However, does it matter that Clemson's offense, who we're talking about being, in my opinion, third on this list, does it matter that the quality of competition that they'll see defensively will be much worse than what South Carolina will see? So I guess the $1 million question is, how do you measure offense versus offense without looking at the competition they're playing, right? Because one's playing in the ACC, one's playing in the SEC. How do you fairly compare the two offenses without saying, well, South Carolina's offense wasn't as good because they were playing in a very tough conference? It's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have to look at things like, let's just say for the sake of argument, that Clemson is averaging 350 yards a game of total offense, and South in the ACC. Well, that's pretty decent, I guess. If South Carolina is averaging 300 yards of total offense in the SEC, well, that's certainly more impressive, right? It's a more impressive stat to be able to achieve fewer yards, but against tougher defenses.
Bland on X says, as a big Clemson guy, I gotta say Mike Furry is a hell of a coach, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. I just hate to say it's with South Carolina. That's a very valid point, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're right. As a Clemson fan, you don't want to see Furry succeed at South Carolina, but you're right. He is a really good coach. He's a phenomenal coach. People don't realize, Bland, how hard it is to go win football games at Limestone. I mean, that and Gaffney, really, I'm not kidding. What he did at Limestone was phenomenal. He gets the most out of his guys. I would have loved to seen him in that receiver room with Xavier Legette. The only problem is he's going to be judged very quickly, and he's not going to have a ton of time under Shane Beamer to be judged because they're in win now mode. They're in win now mode, but he's going to have to recruit some guys, and it's going to take a few years to develop that wide receiver room the way he wants to, I believe.
What do you say, Tolo? 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. You can call us on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. That's 844-326-3663. Message us on the stream. However you want to reach out to us, just do it. We'd appreciate your feedback. We'll get to your comments on this in the very next segment as well. When we come back, Cole, leave it up to the Popo to throw a wet blanket on someone celebrating their country. That's all that was going on here. Somebody just trying to show how much they love America. And the 5-0 busted it up. I'll tell you the story next here on the Fan Upstate. Cole, this will be my first 4th of July with a dog. And you know how people like freak out. Don't shoot off fireworks. It's scaring my dog.
Yeah.
Guess what, dude? You knew 4th of July was coming. You did nothing to prepare your dog, to desensitize your animal. It's not on me to dampen my 4th of July celebrations to keep your little mongrel happy.
A quick question. Serious question, because I don't know. How do you desensitize a dog? You like just make loud noises, shoot guns at each other?
So first of all, it involves taking your dog out and just socializing your dog in public a lot, right?
Near Rob Brown?
Hmm?
Do you put the dog near Rob Brown so he's exposed to loud noises?
I'm pretty sure my dog can hear Rob Brown from the studio just on any given day.
What are you talking about,
in Malden. Yeah, every morning for some reason at 6 o'clock he just perks up. And I was like, oh, Rob Brown's talking again. No, you've got to take your dog out to to socialize them, right? They got to be out in public. They got to hear a lot of different sounds. They got to meet a lot of different people. They got to smell a lot of different smells. And then, of course, you can do things in your house like play YouTube videos with firecrackers on them, right?
That's smart. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could ever truly, unless your dog just so happens to be super cool and calm, I don't think you're ever going to have a dog that's just completely unbothered by fireworks, especially if they're close by.
I don't know if any dog will ever be as unbothered by fireworks as Terry.
Bag up, Terry.
You remember Terry?
Bag up, Terry.
You remember Terry? Who just sat there and never moved? Back up, Terry.
Back up, Terry.
Terry never moved. So if you talk about desensitizing, he was beside the firework and never moved.
That's literally the definition of not giving a single bleep. No, I saw a meme a few weeks ago, Cole, and it's totally true. And this is really they hit the nail on the head. They were just joking around, but they hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
You might have seen this meme. It's Hank Hill speaking to Bobby, talking about how wrong it is that Americans have to pay taxes on fireworks that we shoot off to celebrate our end of paying taxes to the British. He's right. It's frankly un-American to have to pay taxes on fireworks. I think here should be the rule, Cole. Now, I don't all the fireworks vendors in the upstate are like, what I need the tax revenue. Now, I think we should all be able to purchase fireworks up to the value of $177.60, 1776, tax-free. Anything over $177.60, that's when you got to start paying taxes on it, right?
I like that.
But
a lot of people wouldn't have to pay taxes.
Right. Or you just go buy $175 worth of fireworks 2 or 3 times, right?
It's happened too.
It's real easy to do. It's really easy to do. Fireworks are expensive. But I found the story, Cole, that's going to simultaneously make you say, oh, what a shame. And that's awesome. So this story comes out of Connecticut, a suburban Connecticut home. And I've seen photos of this house. It's beautiful. It's like a really nice house. Firefighters found this house filled with dangerous fireworks while they were putting out a fire in the house. So, I mean, think about the potential of things going really, really badly with this scenario. But they I guess they responded to a fire in the garage. And then in the process of inspecting the home, they found a huge stash of fireworks in the basement. I think how bad this could have been, with all the firefighters in the house if this thing had caught fire and started going up. So what did they choose to do? Instead of removing all of the fireworks from the home, they just said, bleep it, burn it down. They just burnt this family's house down rather than trying to remove. I haven't seen a photo because, they burn it down. There's no photo of the inside of this basement, but it must have been stacked floor to ceiling with fireworks in this family's basement.
Because of the fireworks, though? That's why they burned it down?
Yeah, they couldn't. The fire, again, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Wow.
So I don't know why they made this determination.
That's rough.
But they did.
I feel like that might be a little extreme.
Well, here's the thing, Cole, is they described it as a haul of commercial grade fireworks. So,
AKA bombs.
Yes. Yeah. These are not like consumer grade. These are like high-end commercial grade, like high-end stuff, right?
Yeah. Big
the
stuff.
deputy police chief, Kevin Stratton, told the newspaper that it was just easier to burn the home down, let the fireworks go out, since they weren't sure exactly how much explosive material was actually inside the house.
Can you imagine if those suckers would have went off?
Think how dangerous it was.
God.
They said there was a family of 3 and their dog living in this home when the original fire, the one that was in the garage, occurred. How dangerous is it to have a basement stuffed with explosives?
Yeah. I always thought growing up, and maybe this was just me, but hopefully somebody else thought about it too. Like you see the big fireworks stores on the side of the interstate, inside the. I always thought growing up, like, what would happen if one of those suckers went up in flames?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? It'd be full force.
Did you not see the Jackass movies when they would like put everybody in the trailer of an 18-wheeler and they would set off a bunch of fireworks in there?
That's true.
It's rough, man.
Yeah, rough would be putting it mildly.
But here's the thing, Cole, is police there expect to file charges in the case. Somebody's going to jail.
They should.
For what? Like for loving America, for wanting to celebrate their country? I mean, this is just a suburban home. It's not like it's Al-Qaeda, right? They're not planning on taking the neighbor's house down with some whiz poppers and flashbangs.
Well, they could have been. You just don't know. Right?
Well, that's true. That's true. Maybe the dog was plotting to do something. Look, I mean,
all kidding aside, though,
who needs all that?
Fireworks are outrageously overpriced.
It's true.
And you know what the worst part is?
That's why I stick to snakes and sparklers.
So here's the deal. I love snakes and sparklers. I love fireworks, but the worst part of fireworks is like it's the exact same as lighting a $10, $20, $50, $100 bill on fire. I mean, it is. You're essentially lighting a $100 bill on fire. That's what you're doing. And it sucks. But boom. You know. You've seen
like
the
betting
Millers?
on the Panthers. It's like lighting cash on fire.
Have you seen We're the Millers?
Yeah.
When they're mad about the fireworks and the girl makes them, the daughter makes the dad stop to shoot fireworks and the firework goes, shoo, boom.
Great, let's go.
They load up, they get in the RV and they go.
You know,
it's the best movie, by the way.
I've never respected. Well, yeah, it's because it's the movie where Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. All right. Next topic.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've never respected the state of Connecticut until this very story.
It's true.
The fact that this dude had a basement stuffed with commercial grade fireworks.
Real quick.
And it was so much that all they could do was burn this man's house down.
No, I agree. It's nuts.
Awesome.
Before we break, let's go to the phones. Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-3263-663. Our daily Dewey. Let's see if it's any good today. Dewey, what's up?
Dewey, you got 30 seconds.
Yes, I think fireworks should be free.
Yeah.
Go in there and just get fireworks. And beer should be free too.
At the same place, right?
Oh,
get them from the same location. That way we don't have to drink our beers before we go buy our fireworks. You know what, Dewey?
Yeah.
You're on to something today. Normally you're full of crap.
Is this Dewey's best call ever?
But today you're on one, and I appreciate you for that.
And the Carolina offense is number one.
Oh, number one. I'll make that change on my list right now. Thanks, Dewey. We got to run. 6 o'clock, final hour coming your way. Coming up next, Diesel and I, we will ask you a very important question about these dog days of summer. We need some help with a little bracket challenge next. Madcraft on the stream says Dewey 2024. Don't be politicking campaigning. We'll have to put him on more.
After what we watched last night, I'll take anybody.
We'll take Dewey. Okay. Dewey, the new president, instead of what we saw last night.
You know, when South Park did that episode, it's had to been years ago, like 2004. And their choices were a giant douche or a turd sandwich. That was meant to be a warning, not a challenge.
A warning to 2024. You do it better than I do, but yeah.
What voice are you trying to do?
You know it.
The Trump voice?
Do it. Say a warning to 2024 in the Trump voice.
Got a warning.
There you
2024, we're in deep trouble. You don't know. I know because I've seen the future. 2024, big problems.
Let's
problems.
do something real quick live on air. Let's look over on the let's look. So just so anyone who's listening that may not know, we are across the hall from a political talk station in our building, and we all share the same text line, but we have different keywords. I don't know why this is the first time I've done this today, Diesel, but I have not looked over and just peeked at what the monstrosity of text could be today.
We're going to digital spy on them?
Oh, dear God. They are flooding in. I can't imagine what it was to start the show at 3 o'clock after what happened last night. Like, if you're a political station and you come on the air a night after a debate, do you even plan a show?
No.
I mean,
you
can you imagine
being say
Charlie?
3 or 4 buzzwords and then just let the people take over?
We need to ask Charlie if we see him tonight. How much show prep did you do for your show, which is a political station, political talk show? 4 hours. He's on the same exact hours that we're on, right? And man, that would be pretty. It'd be like me and you after the national champion. I guess that's what it's equivalent to. Is that a good comparison? Me and you hosting a show after the national championship game, maybe? What is that equivalent to?
Yeah, that's national. That's Clemson or South Carolina playing in a national championship game,
or Palmetto Bowl, or us coming on the day after the South Carolina Clemson, right? Mm-hmm. I guess that would be the equivalent. But anyways, Texter says
it's a forest fire over there.
It is. I just looked at the text and I didn't stay on it long. I clicked back to fan. Texter says from the 203, you are not allowed to have fireworks in Connecticut that shoot over 10 feet in the air.
What? Lame.
Is that true?
That is the most flaccid
10 feet. What fire? No, seriously.
Thing.
What firework shoots under 10 feet?
The little fountains, those sparkler fountains.
Those are still close to 10 feet, right?
They're close. Yeah, that's really lame.
So that's all you're allowed to do in the Connecticut.
There was a dude in my neighborhood when I grew up in North Carolina. He used to shoot off the best fireworks every year. The best. It was dangerous because there's a lot of trees in our neighborhood. But he used to have these things going. I've never seen them advertised anywhere else. I don't think he made them himself, but I have no idea where he purchased these things.
Well,
they were he would fire these things off. It would shoot a canister up into the air, and then that canister would open up, and a tiny little soldier man on a parachute would parachute back down to the ground.
I have seen this,
and he would shoot like a dozen of them.
Yeah,
and they were so awesome.
That is awesome.
They were so cool. Assuming the parachute didn't light on fire, they worked. They were really cool.
Is there anything funnier looking back on than when a firework tips over and it's shooting parallel to the ground? I mean, really?
Oh, I think the statute of limitations is over on this, and our boss is out of town, so it's probably okay for me to tell the story.
Oh God.
Just for poops and giggles, one year I had an old desktop computer that I was like, what would happen if I stuffed it full of fireworks and set it all off behind the radio station, right out there, God. Right out there. It was like one of those desktop computer boxes that I had stuffed a whole bunch of stuff into, including a couple of those mortars that go down into the hard plastic base. It's supposed to shoot up in the air. One of them blew the back cover off of the computer and then got deflected over to underneath the tower out back.
No.
And it lit some grass on fire underneath the radio tower. So I literally started a grass fire behind the radio. I ran inside was freaking out, like, oh crap, I don't have a fire
What'd you
extinguisher
do?
ready. I had to run through the building. Like, I'm talking freaking out, looking for a fire extinguisher to go put this thing out.
That is freaking hilarious.
I never told anyone.
Nobody?
I didn't tell anyone until now. But like statute of limitations, man, that was like 15 years ago.
My. How many years ago, really? 15,
yeah.
Oh, so you hadn't been here long.
No.
So you said, hey,
No,
I'm gonna
I
go
would have
on.
totally gotten fired for that.
Texter says, back up, Terry. We already had that audio. You might have missed it earlier. That's a classic for the 4th of July. Come
Terry?
on. Texter says, for what it's worth, it's also $500 to kill a praying mantis in Connecticut. All right, Texter, thank you for that. Now we know. Random fact of the day. That never gets old. Like, that is one piece of audio that'll never get old. All right, we do want to ask a question to the Tolos, our audience, our Tolos who are still listening. Turn it on, leave it on. That's what you are, Tolo. And, Diesel, we have the dog days of summer are here. And, we need to do some kind of little bracket challenge. You talked about, crowning America's team a few months ago. You and I talked about a Tolo brought it up, and we were talking about, was it the best barbecue in town? I can't remember if it was the best barbecue or not.
Best barbecue in town, Cole, is difficult because it's extremely subjective. Right?
Opinionated.
We'd be asking, for anybody to want to weigh in with an educated opinion, they got to drive all over the upstate, potentially, 40, 50 minutes in either direction to go try these barbecue restaurants. And that'd be great. We would love for you to do that, right?
Well, I'm saying for me and you, right? I'm saying me and you. I think we were talking about deciding, you and I were talking about deciding where the best barbecue was.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be possible, right? If we got a bracket challenge together, if our Tolos sent in. But the point of this topic is, I want to hear from you, our Tolos. What bracket challenge would you like to see us do this summer? 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Like, it would be cool if we could get, I don't know how many fit on a bracket. Let's say, for example, 16 barbecue restaurants. We contact them all, right? Tell them what we're doing. You and I go out. I mean, everybody loves free barbecue, right? You and I have to try the best 16 barbecue restaurants, and we do it bracket style, bracket form, right? That would be interesting.
Tolos, provide your suggestions. We want to know what you think. What should our summertime bracket be?
I saw an incredible bracket the other day on a podcast. They did a best snack bracket, and it was great.
We could do the goldfish.
Oh.
We were at Ingles the other day, and we had you. What did you count? Like a dozen or so, or more?
Oh, more than that.
Flavors.
Yeah.
So
what else has that many flavors? That's a good one. What else?
Pringles.
Does Pringles have a lot of flavors?
Pringles has a ton of flavors. Yeah.
Cheez-Its has a lot now too, right?
So,
Cheez-Its flavors.
So to bring you into some of the things that we've done on this station before, we have done the Upstate's favorite restaurant.
I do remember.
Massive.
Went nuts.
Massive.
I remember that. Yeah.
We did the Upstate's favorite bar, which was massive, and we broke that into a couple different categories, like bougie bar, like fancy bars and sports bars and things like that.
I remember the bar war.
Yeah, that was great. We were able to bring all those bar owners on,
sure,
and provide them. We want to be able to provide value to the businesses that we bring into this, instead of trying to get them to give us free stuff, which hopefully they will. But also we want to be able to bring some advertising to them, right? And then let the Upstate know that they're there. So
I think in this area, barbecue bracket would take off.
We could do the Upstate's favorite brewery, because there's a ton of those around here right now. Right.
What else? There was another one. Oh, on the snack bracket, like the Sweet 16 got so you might not realize this, you might not think about it, but on the snack bracket, I was watching them do it. It was freaking hilarious. They had like Cheez-Its down. Have you had the Cheez-Its crisps?
Yeah.
They're fantastic. So
like, you do the Sweet 16 or the Salty 16.
That's what I'm saying. So like, you get down and you think, oh, these snack brackets would be very easy, but they're not anywhere near easy.
I'm taking notes here.
I mean, yeah, it's tough. Obviously food would be, people in the Upstate love food, right? People, oh, this is the Spartan burger. That's what we are as Spartanburgers, is what we're told, right?
Upstate's favorite burger.
We could do the burger. We could do the bracket, get the new baseball team involved, right? How about that?
Not bad.
Wonder what would perform better, barbecue bracket or burger bracket in the Upstate? What do you think?
See, I like the idea. You brought it up there, crowning America's new team. We've never done that. Or basically we're stripping the Dallas Cowboys of the moniker America's team because it's just great marketing. You were never America's team.
Yes, you were.
You just got people to buy into it, right? Yeah, it's like people saying Grey Goose is the best vodka in the world. No, it's not. They just used it as marketing, and it stuck. Like people believed it and they bought it, and now they just repeat it without even really thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be great to crown America's team and do a bracket for America's team.
That would send Cole into depression. You want to do that? You want to send Cole into
that
depression?
Dallas isn't going to win.
I'm already getting sad thinking about it. Texter says this comes from the 803 pizza ? I told you, everybody loves food. Texter from the 549 says worst Olympic sports bracket. That's a good one. Again, Texters, we're just thinking Tolos. We're thinking of local things. Pizza's a great one. We're just thinking of ways to get local business owners advertising, get them involved, get some free food for us, have you out there as well, right? Texter from the 480. Oh, this is Spartanburg J. Spartanburg J says, guys, if it's a barbecue bracket, smoking pig wins hands down. See, I'm telling you, man, I think
people are into it.
Barbecue. I want to know, though. I want to do a poll. Barbecue or burger bracket, Tolos? Which do you think would perform better right here in the Upstate? 71307. We'll also put it up on Twitter. What do you head-to-head barbecue or burger? What do you think would perform?
I think
better?
Barbecue would perform better. I think people have stronger opinions
They do.
about barbecue, and I just wonder. I wonder because we never really got any feedback on this. How many of you Tolos who have been around the fan Upstate for a long time? How many of you went out and patronized the restaurants and bars that we had in the bracket?
100%.
Like these might have been bars that you had never heard of or restaurants that you had never heard of, right? How many of you actually went out and checked out those places? Because that's ultimately the point, right? We want you, Tolos,
That's right,
to know that, hey, there's this really cool spot over in Inman that you never knew was there. So it's definitely worth taking a road trip up to Inman. You know, we're trying to bring people together.
We send them business. They come on and give us a little free food. Here's a good suggestion. This is from the 465. Upstate's best mom and pop, no chain, just one restaurant. That's a good suggestion. I like that. Best mom and pop. So I'm assuming mom and pop restaurant, no chain. It can't be anywhere else in America, right? Is that what that means?
I guess. I mean, what if it was a homegrown? I mean, I can't think of a specific example off the top of my head of this.
Like,
what if it was a homegrown chain that started as a mom and pop here? Would that count?
It should, right?
Yeah,
it should. Texter says this comes from the 441. Best steak. Come on, you want to see how far places like Hall's, Peddler, and Texas Roadhouse get. I mean, can you imagine offering me and Diesel free steak?
Yeah, you
probably
realize those places don't offer free steak for things like this.
That's right. Yeah. That's
watch them
Peddler.
jump at the chance to come here and give us free food. Right.
Texter 387 says barbecue. Lewis is the best in the Southeast without question.
Is this the owner texting in? Because I've been to Lewis Barbecue and it sucked.
Oh,
I went. It was not good.
So
not good.
I have not been. Diesel says it was not
overrated AF.
What do you think it was? The food quality for you?
It was everything.
Everything.
There was the ambiance was weird.
Huh.
The way you ordered your food was weird.
Did you go through a line and
yes.
When it was? See, that's Texas style.
They made you take. It took a long time for them to get it to you.
So you wouldn't like Texas
the portions
style
were bad.
Not big enough portions.
No, it was not good. It was not. I'll never go back. I went there one time. I'll never go back.
Oh wow! What if it's free? What if it's free? And it's part of a bracket challenge.
Well, I could be bought.
I didn't think. Yeah,
I can be bought.
You wouldn't like Texas barbecue because that's very similar to. I mean, you go through a line and you point out what you want. I hadn't been though. Texter, it's a lot of good suggestions though. I mean, this is a bracket season, right? This is talking season as There are no sports other than baseball and the Olympics. And as we saw the other day on the text line, it doesn't seem as if there's a lot of Olympic fans. You know, when you did the 5 o'clock fight at Ingles the other day, just not as many people.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you or the Tolos ignore the Olympics.
Oh, I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it, Diesel. I'm ignoring it. Tell me this. It starts July, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the end of the month? Beginning of the month? Do you know? I think it's mid to late July.
I don't know.
I will. Obviously, if you put it on the rundown, we'll talk
July
about
26th. It starts July 26th, end of July.
I guess I'll have to watch a little bit. I just don't care about it.
Like, it's one of the biggest events in the world.
I know.
What are we going to talk? What are we going to break down? Clemson's wide receiver room?
Yeah,
for like the 9th time?
Yes.
No, that
exactly.
sucks.
Olympic talk. What do we talk about? No, seriously though. What do you talk about? How great was that rowing last night? We got smoked by Bangladesh. You know, I mean, Texter says you could split the barbecue restaurants into types, like the bar bracket. What do you mean types? There's only one. Is there different types of barbecue restaurants? I don't know. I don't know what kind of types you're talking about. Like, I just know barbecue restaurants. I didn't know there was such thing as types. But, you know, most of Diesel, I don't want to say this wrong. I believe most of those style restaurants around here, like you do have chains, but you do have a good amount of local restaurants as well. So there's a lot of good possibilities.
Yeah. Food ones are tough because people just vote for the one place that they've been to.
And they like it.
And they don't bother going to the other places.
Spur Daddy says upstate favorite sweet tea restaurant or dessert.
Sweet treat restaurant.
Oh, I can't read.
Sweet treat.
You know I can't read. By the way, speaking of food, Diesel, your Ingles live read is the very next break. So just a quick programming note there behind the scenes. Ingles has great food. Ingles is the best bracket, right? We can't do a grocery store bracket.
Yeah, we could do a bracket of just all the things that they sell in the deli.
God, that'd be a huge bracket. Their delis, I mean, it's unbelievable. Melissa went and found boiled peanuts. I didn't even know they sold
boil in the
boiled
bag,
peanuts.
ready to go. There
That's
was instructions
nuts.
attached to the bag. It's like doing a low country boil.
Oh,
like there's a
best.
spice packet inside the bag.
And just drop it in.
You just drop it in. Yeah. All you got to do is take the tag off the bag, drop it in, boom.
Alan Baby says brackets for Mexican restaurantes. Ha ha. Little sombrero action. I like it. All right, Shane Connuck, Diesel.
Yep, Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer. We had a fantastic conversation with him earlier, breaking down the race at Loudon, the rain tires, and the little prediction, what he sees coming up in the race at Nashville this weekend. That's next on the Fan Upstate.
Charlotte Observer, who covers NASCAR. Shane, it's official now. Chase Briscoe, who's 15th in the points, will step into Martin Truex's number 19 Joe Gibbs racing car next season. How did this whole thing come to be? I mean, it's certainly good for Joe Gibbs Racing, who will have, I think, 4 of the top 15 drivers inside of its building next year. And can you kind of put into perspective with your answer how important to the ownership groups are these owners' standings? Do they really matter to them?
Chase Briscoe coming to JGR is a big get. They kind of get an up-and-coming younger driver to step into that number 19 car, and that is what Chase Briscoe is providing. Had made the playoffs, advanced deep 2 years ago, has been with Stewart-Haas Racing, which, as we know, a bigger team in the sport. And Briscoe now, as he goes to JGR, that's important, like you guys said, to have teams, especially like that one, the leading Toyota team that has 4 cars in the Cup Series, to have all 4 or most of those drivers to have good shots at the playoffs every single year. And that's what JGR has been with for a while now, for as long as it's existed, really. And as you've had not even just the Kyle Busch at JGR era, to now have Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. as long as they are, Truex retiring, Briscoe now stepping in. These teams, it's important to try and win these owners' championships. And going back to last year, Chase Elliott, who quickly is back to the top of the standings week in, week out when he look this year, even though he's only got 1 win to his name. But last year, when he had the 6 race periods in which he did not compete at all, and he ended up missing the playoffs, it was very important to him, and he talked about it. I mean, he probably also wanted to have something to talk about when he was not competing in the playoffs in the round of 16, but he was competing for Hendrick Motorsports to try and bring home that owner's championship. And I do believe that, especially for whether it's a smaller team with 1 or 2 cars that values every point it gets like that from those 1 or 2 drivers, that for a big team like JGR that's leading the way with Toyotas and has been in a lot of ways leading the way in the sport for other teams like 2311 and all these development programs, these Xfinity programs, it is a big deal for these teams to not only potentially win the championship or compete for it, but to have 3 or 4 cars that are capable of winning the race every single week.
Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer joining us right here on The Fan Upstate. I'm Cole Bryson. He's Diesel. Shane, a buddy of mine, Brock, who is a big NASCAR fan, he's my, I guess you would say, he's my NASCAR tutor in a way. You know, golf and NASCAR are the 2 sports that I ask a lot of questions about because they're not my favorite sports in the world. So he asked me to ask you a fascinating question about NASCAR capitalizing right now with no other major sports on. Football, gone. Hockey, over. Basketball, over. Or baseball, over. Excuse me, basketball's over. Baseball's still going on. But to that point, to that question, how would you say NASCAR could capitalize on no other major sports besides Major League Baseball going on right now?
It's a great question. It's something that the sport continues to talk a lot about. The big reason why it's adding that in-season tournament next year. So we're going to have, it is a 5-race stretch. The 5 races that are going to be broadcast on TNT Sports in the middle of the season during these kind of summer months, around the time of the year that we are in right now. Next year are going to be an in-season tournament. You're going to have drivers paired up against each other in a March Madness style bracket, and drivers trying to finish higher than one other driver on the grid. And fans are going to be able to have bracket challenges and bet on individual matchups and have parlays and all that fun stuff. And the big belief is that on top of everything else and the action that's going to create within the sport, that during these few months when Major League Baseball is really the only other major sport happening, that this can make those 5 NASCAR races that are on TNT Sports not necessarily really mean something, but this is going to make them mean like this is going to have, just like the NBA had this past year, which, you know, an inaugural winner of the in-season tournament. So that's going to be something already next year that's going to add something to really spice up the competition among these races in the middle of the season, as opposed to just the sport will just be on as it always has been during the months of July, August, when it's behind other sports. And then also next year, the 5 races that are on Amazon Prime Video before that. Then you'll get to NBC and Peacock, and then afterwards, so that will be, or a certain race on Peacock, so that'll be just breaking up the schedule even more and emphasizing different races, having them mean different things. And the hope, all of that brings more eyeballs to the sport during these summer months as soon as next year.
Find him on Twitter at Shane_Connuck. Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. You know, the city there in Charlotte just approved $650 million to improve Bank of America Stadium. We've all seen the renderings of the facelift that they're planning to that stadium. And over the past couple of weeks, we've talked about NASCAR attracting new viewers and getting creative with the way they attract new viewers. And we've just talked about this new look in-season tournament. Do you foresee, Shane, a day when NASCAR venues start getting these, almost billion-dollar facelifts to their facilities to try to attract people that way?
Honestly, I've been really impressed to see how state-of-the-art aspects of these more modern racetracks are becoming in different places. And there are always going to be plenty of aspects of the racetrack that are going to have the similar no matter where you go. You look up the grandstands, you have some kind of banking on the track, but then certain places are a completely different vibe when you walk around the infield at, say, Talladega compared to Daytona or Phoenix now, that have different bars and restaurants in the middle of the infield, and clearly trying to bring different cultures and different businesses to the track that ultimately bring different people to the racetrack. And it's really cool to see how these places keep becoming more and more modernized. But in terms of having one of these big, what Bank of America Stadium's looking to do, what these NFL stadiums that are looking to host Super Bowls and major events, it wouldn't surprise me if racetracks come to that point soon, because these racetracks, you look at NFL stadiums, why are big concerts often held in football stadiums? Because they're the largest venues. We all remember years back when Tennessee played Virginia Tech inside of Bristol Motor Speedway, because think about these racetracks, they can fit 150,000 people in them, some of them. And so to keep, especially Charlotte Motor Speedway here, hosting big non-racing related events, it seems like it's a matter of time before one of these bigger racetracks tries to make that step forward. And then who knows what kind of events we can continue to see be held inside of these racetracks the same way we see big events be able to cross over different sports and create even bigger, to elevate the atmosphere for different sports.
And Shane, juxtapose that with the vibe at North Wilkesboro, where it's all very, very stripped down and very almost kind of run down in a way, and fans really kind of love that. So it's going to be interesting to see, the fans who love the old school, no frills kind of vibe versus the fans who are attracted to all of the bells and whistles.
And either way, it's still going to the racetrack. And that's nothing cool about NASCAR. I feel like other sports, you could go to some of these really new stadiums and everything really becomes about the experience, and then it really takes away from what's on the field. But when you go to a NASCAR race, everything is about experiencing pit road and walking around the grid, seeing the cars and hearing the engines. And you could be in any suite, you could be down on right next to the cars themselves when they're firing the engines. But no matter what, it's an experience that really is going to always relate back to the race itself.
Shane, what can fans expect this Sunday at the Nashville Super Speedway?
We have a racetrack just over a mile long, a race won by Ross Chastain last year. It's going to be, he won that race from the pole a year ago. Wow. And Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, recent winners there. I think we're going to see another race on a mile-ish long track that's going to, I think it will produce, I think Elliott's going to win this week. I think we're going to see another repeat winner. But because considering for a guy like Elliott how well he continues to run every single week and accumulate those points with the fact he's only gotten a victory lane once, and now we see Christopher Bell joining the Kyle Larson's, William Byron's, Benny Hamlin's of the world with 3 wins to their name already, a little more than halfway through. Chase Elliott's a multi-win driver, and I think that at a track where he's already won, to see him return to victory lane.
Shane, do you think there's any possibility, being that Nashville is a non-traditional track for the Cup Series, but it is a very heavily used track in the Xfinity and the Truck Series? Do you see any drivers who have spent a lot of time in those two who have now made their way up into the Cup Series, maybe finding some success this weekend just based on their familiarity with Nashville?
I think we could see that. Last year we saw Justin Haley qualify in the top 10 and believe had a strong finish at Nashville on that note. So I think that is going to be something we'll see. And to that point, we're seeing older drivers step in to some of these other series at Nashville. Most notably, Clint Boyer will be driving the 7 for Spire Motorsports in the Truck Series race tonight.
Shane, great stuff as always, man. I appreciate you educating our audience and also educating me because I need it desperately on NASCAR. And you're absolutely the best. Can't wait to talk to you again soon, man.
Really fun talking to you guys every single week, and can't wait to do it again. And we'll see what we got after Nashville this week.
That is Shane Connuck of the Charlotte Observer. Always a fantastic job.
No tapping out on this show. You either bring it strong or you can ride the pine.
We're going wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Tony Danzeri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. The NBA draft held their second round on Thursday. The Charlotte Hornets taking Colorado guard K.J. Simpson with the 42nd overall pick. NASCAR at the Nashville Speedway Sunday, the Ally 400 Ross Chastain, the defending champion. It'll be 300 laps on the 1.3-mile super speedway. It's a triple header for NASCAR. The Truck Series racing in Nashville tonight, Xfinity Series on Saturday. The Atlanta Braves lose 1-0 Thursday afternoon in Chicago to the White Sox. This was a makeup game from early April. Chris Sale struck out 11 over 7 innings, but
Putting a big fat bow on the week on the Friday. Hopefully your Friday has already begun. Diesel and I's Friday will begin here in 7 minutes and 15 seconds. That's when our Friday begins. So don't think that, look, just because we do sports radio, don't think we're out just having a good old time every day. We got to hold it down so that while you go out and have a good time.
We got to come up with a great show for Monday.
That's
We're
right.
going to be thinking about all weekend long.
Short week next week.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a weird week. So you take, I like that Wednesday a couple of days ago we had off last Juneteenth. That was fantastic. The only weird thing is Thursday having off and then coming back on Friday, I may be like sunburnt, not in the mood to talk about sports, but we're going to do it because that's what we love to do. So we're going to be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And then we're going to back it up, Terry, into Friday.
Back up, Terry.
Back up, Terry. And we'll be here on Friday, so we won't be here on Thursday, but it'll be a short-ish week. We appreciate you being a part of the show. In case you missed it earlier, in the very first hour, we did go through our daily wires, our headlines, getting you caught up on what's happening in the world of sports. There it is. All right, and that is your daily wires. Right now, that is the dog days of summer. There is nothing going on. That is what we have for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And check back in August, right? I mean, come on. How terrible.
You don't want to break down the latest NHL mock draft?
Oh, yeah. That's coming up on Monday's edition of Wire to Wire.
We not a single one of our Tolos has ever heard of a single name in the NHL
I didn't know they had an NHL mock draft. That's how bad I am. I don't watch the I'm not an NHL guy. All kidding aside, Daily Wires, the Dallas Mavericks traded shooting guard Tim Hardaway Jr., 3 second-round picks to the Detroit Pistons for Quentin Grimes. We'll see how that works out for the Mavericks. EA Sports released its top 10 overall power rankings. That's the third list they've released this week. I guess they're going to just keep releasing all of these things and keep getting more PR and more press because everybody's sharing and going nuts about these lists from EA Sports. Georgia is the number one team in the video game at 95. Your Clemson Tigers, if you're a Tiger fan, they are Diesel numero 6. Is that right? 6? Cinco, 6? Yeah, 6. You Spanish guy?
I was just listening to Cypress Hill.
Cuatro, cinco, seis. Yes, they are 6th on the list, 90th. That's their ranking, 90th total, our overall power rankings. It's Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, Penn State, LSU, and Utah. Are you kidding me? Utah, top 10? Wow.
I think they're going to be a good football team this year. I think they're going to make waves in the Big 12, but top 10?
Utah's always that weird bubble team.
I get top 20. I'm totally fine with Utah being a top 20 team. Probably fairly comfortable with them being a top 15 team.
Top 10's kind of ballsy.
10 is bold.
Yeah, it's bold cotton. I mean, it really is. I'll tell you this. Utah's always a bubble team. We'll see, though. The jury's still out. Clemson baseball lost Nolan Naraki yesterday. He entered the transfer portal, started 34 games for the Tigers this season. The Bravos trying to get back in the win column, if you will. 7:21 pitch tonight. Old Uncle Charlie is on the mound for the Braves. Pirates, Paul Skeens tomorrow. So try to win this one today. You're going up against Martin Perez.
The Braves are real good at home this year. The Pirates are essentially 500 on the road. So the Braves need to win 2 out of 3, especially after that performance that they had against St. Louis and taking the loss to Chicago. I mean, really, the Braves need to sweep this series.
Really, the Braves
need to sweep this series. I mean, if they sweep, they will go 4-3 over this 7-game series.
How do you go to New York,
Yeah.
Take 2 of 3. And then, I mean, come on.
Yeah, we were talking going into this series, like, oh, I feel good about them taking 2 of 3 against the Cardinals. I feel really good about them taking 2 of 3 against the Pirates, and they better beat the White Sox because the White Sox suck. So right there, we were like thinking, 5-2.
Yeah.
5-2 over this 7-game stretch, and they are going to have to sweep the Pirates just to go 4-3.
And that didn't happen.
No, I don't have a whole lot of faith in that happening.
We'll see, though. Hopefully, Snit and the guys will figure something out. Just a real quick look at what is this? Traveler? No, not Travelers. Rocket Mortgage Championship in Detroit, Michigan.
The Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not champion. How dare I say champion?
Yeah.
Rocket Mortgage Classic. Akshay Bhatia is still leading the charge right now in day number 2. What'd you say the cut line was?
Actually, he is tied for first. The cut line that they were showing on TV earlier was -4. And
so Akshay's now tied for first with who?
Tied for first with Aaron Ray.
Never heard of him.
Who I assume this is the Swiss flag. I think this is the Swiss flag. Van Rooyen is tied for third with Young and Montgomery.
Wow. Never heard of several of those.
Scrolling, who is it? Eric Van Rooyen, the best mustache in the biz. Just do yourself a favor real quick and Google Eric Van Rooyen, ERIK Van Rooyen. Best mustache in golf.
If I could
hands down,
it would help.
Hands down.
R what?
ROOY.
Oh, I got it. Oh gosh.
Right.
Fantastic mustache.
Crushing the game.
Looks like a pretty young guy. That's a great stash.
Will Zalatoris tied for 26th at -7 overall. You got to scroll down. But there's not a whole lot of big names in this tournament. Ricky Fowler is tied for 37th at -6.
I think Ricky won it last time.
Did he? And I'm just scrolling down, man. Like, I don't know a lot of these names.
No Scotty
Scheffler. This is not a big tournament. The biggest names are not playing in this one.
You know, this doesn't even feel as big as Quail Hollow. Like, there were bigger names at Quail Hollow than this.
Yeah.
Rory wasn't, at Quail Hollow. No Rory in this one?
Right. Tom Kim is tied for 74th at -3. And again, they were saying earlier on TV, now I don't know where it is right at this moment, but they were saying earlier the cut line was projected to be -4.
Okay.
So Tom Kim, just a week after going the distance against Scotty Scheffler, may not make the cut.
Wow.
This week. Tough.
What a bounce back there, Mr. Kim. And lastly, Dick Vitale announced Friday he will have surgery on Tuesday to remove the cancer from his neck. Hopefully, Dickie V will be cancer.
It's awesome, baby. We got a Dickie V stand-up bobblehead over there. We need to change the batteries in it, though, because it actually does speak when you press the button.
Oh, wow.
But it needs a new battery. It's dead. Dead. Thanks for listening today. Show number 68 in the books. We'll come back on Monday for show number 69.
Ah!
Wire to wire. Thanks, Tolos.